Crossover. Oh, killer crossover. Just crossover. It just crossed him over nastily.
Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Hey, the crossover is powered by Everlevel Concrete. Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Did you see that there? My Chicago came out massive.
It really did.
Hey there. I've been trying
there.
I've been more actively trying to eliminate the Chicago accent.
I think you should lean into it more.
Well, you know.
Segments should be brought to you by Jewel Osco.
Oh, wow. You know about Jewel?
I know about Jewel.
Wow, nobody knows about Jewel.
Well,
This segment's Matt's Big Board is brought to you by Old Style Beer. Old Style. Never a better way to put beer down your gullet. Before we get to our next
what a
pick,
great phrase.
Our pick of the day is brought to you by Strohmeier Sausage. Strohmeier Sausage, home and local operated since 1972. Don't grab a hot dog, grab a Strohmeier.
Look at that. That's just
all day.
muscle memory for you.
This segment is brought to you by Rock Hard. Rock Hard.
Whoa, what is that?
That's every other sports station.
Oh, okay.
Like, there was always an ad that played at my former work, which went, "Hey, fellas, feel like Clark Kent? Wouldn't you rather be Superman?" And then it was a Blue Chew commercial. It was like the greatest line ever. How are you?
I am. I'm just fine. I'm getting
Everything ready?
getting myself situated.
Everything tweeted out. Should I go on a quick monologue right here?
If you got one locked and low, I mean, you're
have
about
a
to leave for the
monologue.
day.
Locked, dude. Well, first off,
If you didn't get it out in 4 hours, now's the time.
Take 5 is now, just so everybody knows, because there's so many loyal listeners, is now Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Oh wow.
We have switched programming just because spring season's over, and my Tuesday and Thursday episodes were brought to you by Husker Athletics press conferences. So now I'm going to save so much money, by the way, not driving to Lincoln.
Yeah, absolutely.
But on top of that, there's only so much we can do. And there's only so much, because I don't want the show to be a repeat of what I talk about over the air.
Right.
So I'm already limited.
Want to be fresh.
Yeah, to the things that I want to talk about. So then, also too, I want to do the betting. I love doing the betting, but I don't want it to be we're not fully ready to make it pick 5, because it would be I think we'll eventually get there where it's pick 5 as opposed to
we'll
take
be
5.
there by fall.
I think we will. I think this is a really good warm up and primer, and then we're gonna switch it. But we'll see what happens. Regardless, what is a monologue I could go on real quick? I mean, have I already talked about the Zion Williamson draft already? Have I already given you that monologue? How was it absolutely rigged?
It would be fresh to my ears.
So, I believe it was the 2017 draft lottery. Might be the most rigged thing in sports to ever happen, and no one ever talks about. Okay. So, in that draft, you had Zion Williamson, you had John Morant, you had RJ Barrett. Okay. They were considered to be the best 3 total complete prospects coming into a draft in since 2003. There was major talks about we'd never seen anything like this since Wade, Melo, and LeBron. Okay. And in that draft, outside of it, what you had going on was the LA Lakers were trying to trade for Anthony Davis. Okay. So much so that the Lakers basically offered up their entire team to get AD. AD said no. Okay. That's revisionist history. So at this point, it was established before the draft lottery that Anthony Davis was not going to go to the Lakers. There is no way AD is going to be a Laker. They just don't have the pieces in order to make Davis a Laker. Why would New Orleans give up a bona fide 25-year-old superstar entering his prime for a bunch of guys who are not going to reach that level, right? Well, then what happened? In that draft lottery, New Orleans, who had a very low percentage chance of getting the first overall pick, get Zion Williamson, okay? Makes them think, oh, wow, we don't need AD anymore because we already have the future of the franchise. No big deal. Actually, now it makes a lot of sense to trade Anthony Davis to get a bunch of young guys in here, restart the clock. The second overall pick goes to Memphis Grizzlies, the second smallest market in the NBA, which, had some capacity problems. We'll give them the superstar John Morant. The third overall pick goes to do you remember who got the third overall pick?
I do not.
The New York Knicks, who get probably the best overall prospect, the best overall basketball prospect in the draft, and RJ Barrett. And who gets the number 4 overall pick?
I'm going to guess the Chicago Bulls.
No.
Oh, okay.
A team that didn't even own the first round pick. A team that had traded it away, but it was top 4 protected. The LA Lakers got the 4th overall pick. So then the Lakers now, who didn't even have the pick, now have the 4th overall pick. Now they get to add it to the package to trade for Anthony Davis.
Uh-huh.
It is clearly the most rigged draft lottery of all time. You give the Pelicans incentive to trade Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is now a Laker. You give the Lakers more ammo to go ahead and trade for Anthony Davis. And then you have one superstar end up in a small market. You need to do better. And you have the best overall player end up in the Garden. There you go. There's my monologue. Have you done all your work yet?
Yeah, I'm
okay.
I'm logged in.
There you go. I just got to get that out there.
It's important.
It's something that I'm very passionate about, that I truly fully believe.
And now look at what
happened.
A great position the Pelicans are in.
The funny thing is that not a ton of teams benefited from that, other than the Lakers won a championship. But even people, how do you feel about the bubble?
How do I feel about the bubble?
Yeah, dude, are you one of the guys that disregards the bubble, or do you?
It counts.
Oh Lord, that is not an emphatic.
No, it's not. If you say it doesn't count, I'm not going to fight you. The most eventful thing that ever happened in the bubble was when
Lemon
Pepper Lou went out for wings.
You don't think that's the most eventful one, and not when they literally almost stopped playing basketball?
I would say the second most important thing that happened in the bubble is the creation of Big Face Coffee.
Is that Jimmy Butler's 25? So is that like a national brand now?
I think so.
And
I don't know where to get any. Is it still
ridiculously priced?
I would imagine so.
He is something. He is an interesting cat.
He is. I don't know if he's a genius or an idiot. It might be both.
He's an NBA Hall. He's a pro basketball Hall of Famer.
Well, everyone who plays basketball is.
So is he an MLB Hall of Famer?
Is he an MLB Hall of Famer?
Like if we were using the MLB Hall of Fame rules, where would Jimmy Butler lie in that combo? I think it's an incredible conversation to have.
Hall of Very Good?
I think he might be like a Larry Walker.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think Jimmy played anywhere and where it clearly and obviously boosted his stats to the point where we have to question the validity of his bat. But I do we're talking about a guy, and the only comparison to Larry Walker and Jimmy Butler is that I think Jimmy would have to wait for a while and then get in.
6-time All-Star.
Yeah.
Never a first-teamer.
Okay.
5-time All-NBA defensive second team.
Okay. He never made an All-NBA first team in his career?
So far.
Wow.
Eastern Conference Finals MVP. Led the league in steals 1 year.
And he's been to 2 finals.
Mm-hmm. Gold medal.
We don't count that. It doesn't count.
You don't count those?
No.
Okay.
You're on the super team. You're supposed to win the gold.
Well, yes, but you made the team, though.
Okay.
So you were one of the 12.
So every 4 years he made also too, which it depends on which gold medal team he was on.
Rio 2016.
Yeah, that doesn't count. No one was playing. No one was playing. Nobody wanted to be on that team. They were sick and tired of the Olympics at that time. Wasn't there a virus going on around during that time too that everybody was concerned about getting?
Not the virus I associate with the Olympics, no.
Okay. Which one am I talking about?
I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. Neither do I. I don't know anything I'm talking about. But I think Jimmy Butler, he's made 2 NBA finals. And he's made 2, right? He made didn't Denver beat Miami? I'm gonna have to look up.
Now we gotta look this up
to double check myself.
I'm sorry, I don't know Jimmy Butler's NBA history.
Many NBA finals has Jimmy.
First finals appearance, 2019 to 2021. Best Eastern Conference record.
Sure he's made
second finals
He's made it
appearance.
Twice. He's made it twice.
Sorry, I had to scroll through the wiki a little more.
He's made it twice.
Yep.
I think he I think he would have to wait. But what he did yesterday for Golden State and what he's done for Golden State in general over this last like half the season, it's been absolutely incredible. Like he's resurrected their year. He's put energy back into that building. He's put energy back into that team. Steph Curry is still Steph. Draymond Green is playing some of his best basketball in the last couple of years.
When he's not trying to fight everyone.
Well, he had his Gordie Howe hat trick yesterday of a personal foul, a technical foul, and a flagrant foul.
I don't watch a ton of basketball, but I've never seen that.
That is absolutely incredible. And it's only like that's Draymond. Mm-hmm. And the crazy thing is that what happens if he's a 5-time? Because that's a guy. So Draymond is a guy that I wouldn't put in my MLB NBA Hall of Fame. But if he wins 5 championships, if he wins, by the way, too, we're going to have an uncomfortable conversation about Steph Curry if he ends up winning a 5th NBA title.
He wasn't on the floor in the last minute of the game last night.
Well, when he won in 2022, oh, thanks, by the way, Nick Wright. That was a good reference. When he won in 2022 and he took home the Finals MVP, first off, it was absolutely ridiculous that he had to do that to validate anything that he had done in the past.
Correct.
But he
changed the game of basketball.
Like,
watch any 6-year-old play basketball.
There are things that, for whatever reasons, athletes have to do in the eyes of the public in order to validate already incredible things that they've done. And a lot of them don't. And he went out of his way to do it. Like, in a lot of people's eyes, like LeBron has to win 6 titles to be the greatest of all time. I still think you can make an argument for him to be the greatest of all time, regardless of winning the 6 titles.
Now you're doing a Nick Wright.
Well, I'm saying you can make an argument. I'm not saying he is. I'm saying you could definitely make the argument. All of that to say, though, Jimmy Butler, if they end up making a very, very deep run, he could end up being the Finals MVP, which then would make him, without a doubt, a Hall of Famer in the NBA and in our MLB standings as well. And you can have some uncomfortable conversations of where do you rank him amongst Giannis? Because Giannis is a guy where, he's got the flash factor and he's big and he's long and he's athletic and he's generational, right? But he's only made 1 NBA Finals. If they got a chance, the Golden State Warriors have a chance to make the NBA Finals now after they've taken a 3-1 lead over a pretty damn good Houston Rockets team.
That's right.
Throwing that out there. Have you been following up with our favorite 64-year-old? I think he's 64. Is he 64? Our favorite North Carolina head coach?
No, I haven't. What happened?
Have you not?
Jordan.
Jordan.
Oh, yeah, she is
crazy.
Oh,
so now she's retweeting. So Gary told this to me before we ended the show, that she has made 5 tweets in the last 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. She is now currently going on a rampage and retweeting.
She's tweeting through it.
Retweeting all of the positive things people have to say about her.
Mm-hmm.
So if you say something positive about her right now. Oh, you know where I'm going.
Go ahead. Extrapolate for the audience who hasn't come to the same conclusion yet.
So if we tweet nice things about her, we could end up getting a retweet from Jordan Hudson, which would absolutely be an incredible accomplishment, not only for me, but the station as well.
Yeah, be huge social media clout.
Massive social media clout.
Which is why we do this.
Well, I mean, obviously, why do you think I'm in this business? Think I'm in it to make a living? No,
no.
I want to get Costco guys famous. That's
right.
what I want to do. So, who's going to do it? How funny would it be if from the Connor Happer show, you just tweet out right now, I fully stand in support of Jordan Hudson and Bill Belichick's relationship.
I stand with
Jordan Hudson. How about you just tweet that out right now? Nobody would. Who's going to care?
Yeah.
Who's going to be like, you can't do that. That's inappropriate. She's just a woman trying to have a relationship with a man who's much older than her.
I don't even know her.
I cannot find her Twitter account.
What's her at?
I can't find it.
All right, we can do this. We're internet sleuths.
Okay.
Jordan with 2 O's.
Oh, is it with 2 O's?
It is.
Oh.
Or at least I thought it was. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Did you find her? I mean, I'm just saying. So this is what Gary said. He said that people were tweeting. Maybe she deleted her Twitter now. There's a.
Well, that's not the way to handle it.
I know. Now we're just silent radio trying to find this crazy woman's. So by the way, too, the big thing like going viral about this entire thing is that he was just asked, "Hey, how did you guys meet?"
The single most innocuous question you could ask.
Okay, so even let's have this convo. Even if it is weird how they met, like even if some of these rumors are true and that she had maybe a previous line of work that is frowned upon, and they met in a very, very weird place for Bill Belichick, which would be Miami, Florida, and that happened. How do you not come up with a story over the last 6 months?
We need a line like friend of a friend or dinner party.
I mean, for someone who is literally considered to be the COO of Bill Belichick LLC and like part of like the North Carolina football department, especially in college football, I hope you're good at lying. Are they not good liars?
You were that unprepared?
Well, I'm just saying, like, if you're going to be historically, if you're going to be good at college sports, you got to be a pretty good liar.
It has to be a trick in your bag, right?
And you have to be able to do it. Okay? We could name some of the greatest college coaches of all time. Okay? Basketball or football. And at some point, they had lied to do things and got away with it for an X amount of time. And then were able to win championships through it. Just saying. If I was North Carolina, I'd be a little concerned right now.
You could have said the most scandalous way for a couple to meet. I don't know what that is.
Probably the rumor on Twitter right
Probably
now.
A Diddy party.
Yeah. But that or Epstein Island.
Now, it is my obsession to find out how these two met.
Well, isn't it already out there that they met on a plane? Which, by the way, have you watched that movie on Netflix, by the way?
You're going to have to be more specific.
There's a movie on Netflix that's about finding your true love at an airport. And
no, I have not.
Okay. I don't know what it's called. I don't think it's called the Netflix movie about finding your true love at an airport. I think there's something else to that. But it's just funny that movie did get released like a year before this happened. But I do think if we're ranking like, isn't a plane such a weird place to meet your lover that it would be hard to make that up? Like if we're like, hey, Josh, we got to make up a lie about how I met my girlfriend. I'm not going to be like, oh, we met on a plane over a book we were both mutually reading. That's like a really weird way to meet. That already you're kind of judged upon that. That wouldn't be the lie. So just say that.
Yeah. Just now you've blown it up to a point where everyone's going to find out.
It's a great marketing ploy, though. We're talking about North Carolina football in April.
Are we talking about North Carolina football?
This is the argument I got into with Gary. Okay. Yes, we are.
Okay.
Because he's the coach. Bill. So Gary was like, we're talking about Bill. I go, but who does Bill coach for? Now, are we talking about, man, it's a tough loss that Bo Atkinson went from North Carolina to Ohio State, and it's a big loss in the D-line? No. But when we get to the year, right, we're going to be talking about North Carolina football. We're going to be talking about his weirdo relationship with a woman that could be his daughter.
Granddaughter.
Jeez. She could. She actually. Could she? 24 times 28. Yeah, she could be. It's all going to be a lead up, though, to being like, North Carolina's going to be on ESPN game day.
Oh, so much.
They're going to get national coverage. And so here we are talking about the head coach.
They'll be the Colorado of the last couple years.
When has North Carolina football ever been relevant in April?
Oh.
I don't think ever. I think you could probably blanket statement and say North Carolina football has never been uttered by national media or media that isn't in Chapel Hill in April. At least the football team.
Yeah. Hard pressed to think of a time
that you actually would. Like, no, they've never been relevant. They've never been relevant.
I mean, even with like the highly drafted quarterbacks they've had, it wasn't ever
No.
There wasn't a lot of
Well, it
April
was
buzz.
Well, the quarterbacks got hammered because they played at North Carolina. Because it was like, well, Mitch Trubisky only started 1 year and he went 7-5. Yeah, is Sam Howell really that good?
He was not.
No, none of them were. North Carolina I don't think any North Carolina quarterbacks work out in the NFL. Well, Drake May. But he's such an athlete that he's been able to persevere through it. You had a great tweet yesterday, by the way.
Thank you. I don't know what you're talking about, but you're spot on analysis.
The tweet about nobody knew that the Commanders weren't playing in DC. It's not a big story unless you're from that area.
Yeah. NFL media just, oh my gosh, they all had a scheduled tweet at
back to
9
the glory
a.m.
days.
Oh, finally, they return home. Look at the artist rendering. Have you seen the artist rendering? I'm going to retweet the artist rendering. I don't think anybody's seen that yet.
Okay, so a couple of things. First off, I had no clue they weren't in DC.
I had no clue either because I live in Omaha.
I just assumed that when they go from the nation's capital, the Washington Commanders, the third, they're just playing in the nation's capital. I didn't know that they were off, over a river, their grandma's house, into the woods of somewhere else, right? I disagree with you on one part, though.
Oh, okay.
I love an artist rendering of stadiums.
So many people do.
I think they're so cool. I just think they're cool. I just think they're dope. I just think it's like, man, this is creative. Man, they put a lot of effort into this. Holy crap.
This is what you're going to get.
This is going to look like the Desert Dome. It kind of does give some Desert Dome vibes. Which, by the way,
a little bit, yeah.
Like the dystopian universe, like when I imagine a dystopian universe, it kind of like some of the buildings I imagine in it look like the new NFL stadiums. Like seriously, like I imagine like something like in a 2084 world where everything's falling apart, that we would have something that looks like Allegiant Stadium. I mean, it literally looks straight out of a Star Wars movie.
It does.
Like same thing with like you could put the Washington Commanders new stadium in the Hunger Games as a building, and I don't think I would blink twice at it.
Okay, yeah.
Like I
think you're right.
And I'm a little bit over the whole everybody loves glass. Like we're all obsessed with glass
Too much
nowadays.
Glass.
There's so much glass in these stadiums.
We need that shot for 12 seconds on CBS.
I don't understand the obsession with the just Minnesota's new stadium, ridiculous amount of glass. Allegiant Stadium, ridiculous amount of glass. This stadium looks like it looks like the Glass Onion. From that movie with
Knives Out.
Yeah, there you go.
People forget there was a sequel to Knives Out called Glass Onion.
Why do people forget?
It was...
Oh, my God. Don't you dare.
It was not as good as the first
one.
Okay. It was never going to be.
Can you name me a sequel that is better, that you think is better than the first one? And don't say Godfather 2, because that's a cop-out.
That's also not true.
Okay.
Aliens. Empire Strikes Back.
Good point. Fair enough. I was just going to say, it's a your generation thing to always hate on the sequel if you really, really like the original. However, nothing's going to be better than the first Knives Out. The second Knives Out, though, was very, very good.
It was fine, but it was a movie that was released on Netflix, so we watched it, and 12 minutes later, we forgot it existed.
They're making another one, right?
I mean,
they're just going to... So, will Daniel Craig be more known for Benoit Blanc? Nothing's going to pass up James Bond, right?
Right. He would have to
have an absolute banger of a third one.
Yeah.
Now, speaking about guys who could have potential bangers on the way, The Rock looks incredible in the Smashing Machine.
Yeah.
So he looks like a little bit like Zac Efron. Where they kind of like you know how Zac Efron got his face messed up. Now I don't know if it was a bad. The rumor is it was bad face work, bad plastic surgery. He claims that he fell down and broke his jaw, and they had to restructure his face, which does happen. Now, funny enough, I do think he looked better for the Von Erich movie. The way that he looked, he looked more like a Von Erich because of what happened. But The Rock, when you first said that it was The Rock and I watched the trailer, I couldn't fully tell it was The Rock. So I feel like they went with this Zac Efron type prosthesis, with which If I'm being honest with you, I think that's the only way The Rock could win any sort of award.
You would have to forget that it's The Rock.
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
Because it's just he plays a lot of the same characters. So, I mean, he plays The Rock. He essentially plays his wrestling character in every movie. So the fact that he doesn't look exactly like Dwayne is going to help. Because I saw your tweet that people have been saying that he could win an award for this movie. And I immediately rolled my eyes because I'm of the opinion that he is not a good actor. Period. End of story.
That is correct.
I
Yes.
then saw the trailer and
take.
said he doesn't look anything like him, like himself here. And so that is a positive toward him actually being able to get an award, which it would be the funniest thing ever if The Rock got an Academy Award and Adam Sandler did. That would be so funny.
He looks a little like the fat version of himself in Central Intelligence. Yes. I think it's the hair that's doing that for me. Now, he does not look fat in The Smashing Machine, but if that character got real buff and kept the hair.
I just think that he's what? So the base of the story is that he plays a roided up fighter named Mark Kerr. Correct?
Yeah, Schreiner was telling me there's a documentary about said fighter that is also very good.
The funny thing is that I feel like in a way Dwayne can play himself because he definitely is on steroids.
He could definitely have some institutional knowledge that not every other actor could have.
Because
Mark Kerr was the fighter's name.
I mean, we're talking about, he doesn't need to method act for this, if we're being honest.
Right.
Like he kind of already, there's no lawsuit out there about The Rock having roid rage or everything like that. But if you know a lot,
don't put it on the internet. We said The Rock has roid rage.
I don't think The Rock. We've never seen The Rock have roid rage. It's very clear he's on steroids, though. It's very clear. You do not look like that at that age and have that transformation late into your life without being on some sort of external.
Guy just loves the gym. What are you talking about?
Have you seen The Rock in 1997 compared to The Rock now? He looks better 28 years later than he did back in the day. He was a flubby. So when he was Rocky Maivia, he had a lot of baby fat on him.
So much.
He had a ton of baby fat on him. Now you're telling me 30 years later that he's always been naturally built like this? That he's such a natural. No, he's on something.
He just loves eating right.
Looks like a great movie though.
It does look pretty good.
Have you seen Sinners?
I have seen Sinners.
Is it worth it? So on Friday, the Thunderbolts is going to get released.
That's right.
Okay, I am excited for said movie. Okay, it is going to be on IMAX screens, henceforth removing Sinners.
Oh yes,
from the IMAX screens. Would you say it's a proper investment on my part to go to a movie during the weekday to see Sinners on an IMAX screen?
Okay, go ahead.
Or I can wait it out and I'll just watch it on a regular screen whenever it fits me best. Because I'm not a weekday movie person.
Now see, I love going to the movies with as few people as possible.
See, I do too. But you can accomplish that on a Friday at 1:00.
America, you have forgotten the decorum of going to the movies.
Well, I see the Minecraft movie, and I absolutely the videos of the chicken jockey thing.
Oh my goodness!
And I flip out.
Oof.
I flip out. I get so mad watching that. You're not funny. You're not funny. When are we gonna start telling teenagers they're not funny?
Great take, Matt. Teenagers, you're not funny.
You're not funny.
You're having fun.
Yeah. You're not funny.
But you're not funny.
Now, some people probably are listening to this being like, when are we going to tell 23-year-olds they're not funny? But
we'll get there.
We'll get there.
We're moving up the list, okay?
I'm no longer a teenager. Shocker to some people. It's absolutely ridiculous.
So I guess to
answer... And by the way, first off, before I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're
You go, America, we have lost decorum. Let's just put a period. Just decorum and etiquette in general has been absolutely wiped off of this society. Okay.
Government tells you to stay in your house. You forget how to leave your house.
Here's the thing too. The only place that etiquette still exists, in my opinion, is the golf course. Okay.
Oh.
That is the only place where it's like,
all right, you can't get too close to the green. Hey, you got to wait for you can't hit into the people. Hey, let's make sure when the cart girl comes around, we're going to tip her properly. You know, let's make sure that reservations, I feel like, have been thrown to the side. The golf course is the only establishment in America where you absolutely have to make a reservation no matter when you go.
I think you're onto something.
Like we have somehow been able to keep the etiquette of golf courses sacred. And the day that goes away is the day we're done. That's when the robots take over. AI runs us all. Go back to your point, though. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. As we get out of here, I would say that is a movie that it is very, very good. It is it's a great movie. I don't know that it warrants the extra money of an IMAX.
Okay.
I don't know that there was anything happening on there that I was like, you need the sound
in that movie.
Yeah, because a lot of it is based on music, and the music is very good.
Now, would you do it if I had access to a Dolby? Would you absolutely spend that extra money?
Yes.
Okay. The staying power of this movie, absolutely incredible.
No movie has dropped off
less
in its second weekend.
Which I think but that is an indication, though, of the dying of the movie theaters.
Yeah.
Because the reason why it didn't drop off was because so many people didn't go because it was in the theaters.
It didn't start as high as it could have.
And then they were told, "Hey, dude, like, I don't know if you know who Ryan Coogler is, and Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld are absolutely incredible. Like, you have to go to this movie," which is why it didn't drop off as much. But it definitely was like in my opinion, a backhanded. It's never dropped off this much reports because nobody wants to spend the money and go to it. Except for me and you, because I will always watch movies in theaters. I don't watch Netflix movies.
Because they're bad?
That and I get too distracted. Like, if you just put me down on my couch.
Okay. Sure. Mm-hmm.
If you just put me down on my couch in front of my TV, I'm going to look at my phone like a ton.
Which is bled over to the movie theaters, and people who had... Is it a requirement that, hey, I'm going to the movies, I need to put my settings on the brightest possible? Why is your screen that bright in your day-to-day lives?
Well, here's my thing. I sit in the back of the movie theater.
Yes.
On purpose.
Yes.
So I can be on my phone.
Oh.
Okay.
They don't want you on your phone during the movie.
No, but because I need to look at my phone at some point.
I don't think you do. I think you can go 2 hours.
In my line of work, absolutely.
No.
I need all the notifications.
Okay, let's say
I definitely need to look at my phone. You work in this business too. You're on the radio every day. We need to know what's going on.
Let's say it's
moment.
1 p.m. and Deion Sanders gets fired. What are you going to do?
I'd probably leave the movie theater.
You would leave for what? For what purpose?
Because
we've got it handled until 6.
See, that's a good point. I would not leave the movie theater.
Live your life.
No, I would not leave the movie theater.
Okay.
But if I were called in.
Okay. We need all hands on deck here.
Hey, we need, for example, if Matt Rule, and I'm not saying this, guys.
Dylan weighs 275.
No,
we need all hands on deck here.
Stop. I'm not saying Matt Rule is going to be fired anytime soon. Okay. Hypothetically, if Matt Rule were to get fired and I were to be at the movie theater, I would leave because I would somehow, some way like to be on the radio in some sort of capacity, or I would like some sort of platform.
Emergency pod.
Yes, I would. If you were like, you are absolutely not coming on the show to talk about Matt Rule being fired, I would then flip out my phone and record a video and then post it on my Twitter. Something like that. If Deion were to get fired,
that was maybe not the best example, but
if asked, yes, I would. But I do need to be on the phone to be like, oh, hey, that happened. Let me quickly write that down on my notes so I know when I'm done with this movie, I can properly go back and do the research I need to do in order to be prepared for my 4-hour morning radio show with Gary Sharp called Gary and Matt.
Gary and Matt. You can listen to it at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Matt, thank you.
So that was a great segue out.
It was.
The crossover is powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. The Connor Happer Show, hosted today by Josh Otson, is coming up next.
1620 The Zone, the Connor Happer Show. No Connor today. He is at the Chuck calling baseball. Creighton taking on Omaha for the second time today. A little Dodge Derby going on this morning. Kids Day at the ballpark. We'll check in with him later. We'll fill you in on what else is coming up on the show later. But right now we are joined by the head Reaver, Scott Strohmeier, head coach, Iowa Western football, friend of the show. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
We are, not we, me. I am fabulous. I guess let's start with, let's have you take a victory lap on getting a couple of kids some invites to NFL camps this summer. Hunter Decker's invited to earn a spot on the New Orleans Saints. We got a Seahawk again. This is not the first Reaver to become a Seahawk. I guess what feelings go through your head when you see those posts come up on social media?
Well, I mean, I think that's ultimately why you do what you do. You know, every kid's dream is to have an opportunity and to play at the highest level, and you know, to see those guys get those opportunities and see what they've gone through is rewarding, you know. And I think in both of those individuals, you know, Mike Love, of what he kind of went through, and from Northern Illinois to here to Long Island and then to getting that shot is pretty impressive. I mean, obviously he's a good player and he's a good player here, so hopefully he gets, you know, does what he's supposed to do. But and then Hunter, you know, I mean, we all knew that there was going to be an opportunity, right? And I think the perfect situation for him was we thought the Saints were the spot to at least get a chance, you know, and he was gonna choose his opportunity based on what their quarterback room was. So, like, I texted him the other night and said, all you needed was a shot. Now you got to go do it.
Absolutely, and he's already pushed out Ben DiNucci. So he's moved his way up one spot already. In my eyes, I don't know, probably not on anyone in the Saints locker room, in their eyes, but in my eyes, he's moved up a spot. But you are in your final week of spring ball. Got the big spring game Thursday night there on campus this time, right?
Yes, yeah, for the first time. Well, I shouldn't say that. The first year we did play down on the grass fields, or down below in our practice fields the first year, but so the first time since 2009, the spring game's going to be held on campus, and I mean, we're excited. Hopefully we can get a lot of students on campus that can come over and check it out and make it a good atmosphere.
Yeah, if you haven't been to the campus of Iowa Western in the last, I don't know, year, 2 years, it probably looks a little different. If you haven't been there in the last 5 years, it probably looks vastly different than the last time you were there, as there's all sorts of new facilities popping up there. What is spring ball? What has it been like for the Reavers this spring?
You know, I mean, it's such a huge evaluation period. We lost so many players, you know, from last year's team, and then we had a lot of redshirt kids that this is really getting their opportunity for us to kind of see how much they've developed from, you know, the off-season workouts or weight room, and then translate that to the field. So a really huge evaluation time. You know, developmental time for our guys, and it kind of gives us an opportunity to say, okay, this guy's really improved, and we feel really confident there. There's so many question marks, you know, I mean, across the board. I think O-line, we have 3 guys that played a lot of time. Defensive lines looked really good, from the guys who played last year to our guys who have redshirted and doing some things. But other than that, I like I said, it just gives these guys us an opportunity to kind of evaluate them and give us idea of kind of where we're at going into the fall, and do we need to fill some spots? But overall, it's been good. I mean, our guys have worked hard in the weight room. We've seen drastic improvements weight-wise in the weight room, and now we just got to go out there and play it.
Head coach Scott Strohmeier here from Iowa Western. They got the spring game Thursday night, 6 o'clock on campus there at Iowa Western. Now, something you haven't had the last couple of years. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong. Just a dumb media member here. Potentially, the quarterback you'll have in week 1 is in spring ball.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, we brought in. We have, Graham Beckham redshirted last year. We have Trenton Smith who redshirted last year. We have Braylon Cameron who played. We brought in a couple of transfers. Malachi Marshall from Stony Brook. He started 4 games for them, went 4-0 in those 4 starts. And then Rod Hartsfield, who transferred from Elkhorn State. I don't know if he'll go in the spring game. He's banged up right now, but so we'll see. I mean, and then anytime, I mean, spring ball, summer is huge for that position. And a freshman coming in, they just get the summer, and then the fall. Nolan Geislinger, who played last year for us, is playing baseball, doing really well, and so he hasn't been with us in spring. So we'll see. I mean, but hopefully, I mean, that's the plan. Usually, is when you got a guy, you want to give them a few more reps rather than just a high school freshman coming in. But we got a couple good freshmen coming in that are going to compete as well, and we all know that's the important position to make sure that you have solidified going into the fall.
And then one of the other reasons we love having you on the show so frequently is we use you as a sort of a state of college football sounding board. All at Nebraska, they're worried about the roster limits, cutting it down to 105. Everybody assumes that, hey, if every college football team in the country is cutting 20, 30 kids from their roster, that's going to trickle down to D2 and D3, and JUCO is going to reap a whole bunch of benefits. And I've talked with you, and you said that might not possibly be the case.
Well, I tell you what, I mean, it's absolutely crazy right now, and we've had the last 2 weeks, we've had a lot of coaches come through and watch practice, and you can talk to them about that 105, and everybody thinks that they're all trickling down. I'll say this: a lot of the guys that enter the portal are getting opportunities at the next level. Maybe it's a lower level, or if it's P4 to group of 5 or whatever. We will see that. I mean, we will get some, and we already have, but I think the biggest thing is it's going to continue to trickle down, and I don't know where all the kids are going to go, to be honest with you, when they got to cut to that. But we haven't seen it so much right now because it's early. When some teams are cutting, like they're already telling guys, and so those guys are getting opportunities. Some teams they don't have to make that decision until June 1st, or maybe it's July 1st. I don't know the Division I rule necessarily on it yet. So some schools haven't really cut them yet. So this summer is going to be absolutely crazy, because a lot of the kids right now are going to find spots, but the kids, if a team's waiting till later, then we're going to be flooded. I think. I mean, they just don't have spots to go.
And I've talked with your staff before. They're great guys. They're super intelligent. But how do you? It's not a large staff. You don't have the staff that like a Nebraska or an Iowa has. How do you keep track of the rules and regulations when it's a moving target day to day? I mean, I would just throw my hands up and be like, "Well, I don't know. I don't know how to run a football team."
Well, we do take it day by day, and I tell people when COVID hit, it was a couple of years to kind of navigate to see, okay, how are you going to approach this? Well, now then we get through that, and now they throw the transfer portal, NIL stuff on top of it, and so now we got to navigate through that. And I think any program is going to kind of navigate through it. I think the biggest thing that I've heard from a lot of schools that have been through here is we can't necessarily, if I lose a kid, say I'm a group of 5 school and I lose a kid that's a really good player and I lose him because of money. Someone's going to buy him. Well, I can't replace that same level player in the portal, and if I can't afford to pay him. So they're now realizing that the best way to replace a kid that I lose in the portal is junior college, because my guys are looking for scholarships. My guys aren't asking for money.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're just in that initial stage of people realizing and navigating through this whole portal era. And so I think at the end of the day, it's going to really help us from our guys of getting opportunities to move on. This has been in the past, this is the most crucial recruiting period for our guys, of coaches coming in to watch spring practice. It's been down because of the portal's open, right? It's closed now, but the portal opened in a time when all those coaches used to go to the junior college and go make their rounds junior college wise. So we're seeing, I mean, it's like I said, people are going to navigate through it, but it's been different. And like I said, we have to navigate through it and figure out the ways and try to make or figure it out, I guess.
Well, you've figured it out over the course of a decade and a half, where I can't imagine the changes that you've actually had to go through, from building a program from nothing to 4 straight national championship games, hopefully a 5th, Scott. I don't know if I've formally made that request to you yet. I know you're going to.
That's the plan.
The plan. That's right. Coach, we thank you for your time. Good luck at the spring game. Hope everything goes well for you.
I appreciate it, Justin. Thanks for having me.
All right, there he is, head coach Scott Strohmeier, Iowa Western, their spring game right there on campus at Iowa Western Community College. You can see the future stars of Iowa Western battle it out. Thursday night, 6:00 is when they'll get rolling there. Beautiful new facility, not quite set up for a Saturday's worth of fans, but it's a beautiful facility. They got a new baseball field, new softball field. Take a tour of it while you're out there, and enjoy a surprisingly high brand of football, I guess would be the best way to the most succinct way to describe it. If you've ever gone out and watched Iowa Western play, you know what kind of ball they're playing there in Council Bluffs. Very high level football. And congratulations to Hunter Deckers and Michael Love, former Reavers, invited to give it their best shot at the NFL level with the Saints and Seahawks, respectively. I am producer Josh Odson. I am going to take you to 2:00 today. Connor Happer down at the Chuck for Creighton baseball as they take on Omaha. Blue Jays have won 8 in a row, looking to make it 9 in a row today against the Mavericks. We'll dip into that game as we have the broadcast rights to it, so we'll try and have some fun with that game this afternoon. We'll step aside. I'll come back. I'll tell you all the things you can expect on the show today. It's the Connor Happer Show. Producer Josh filling in today on 1620 The Zone.
After further review, the host is deemed to be out of bounds. The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can
It's the Connor Happer Show. Are we sure we want to do this?
Could you, make an announcement that we're ready?
It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620, The Zone.
Hello and welcome. Nothing like getting the show started an hour into the show. That's perfect for a guy like me, producer, host, one-man band, jack of all trades, master of none, so to speak. Producer Josh with you today as Connor Happer is at the ballpark calling Creighton and Omaha. Throughout the day, we'll do things like this.
Plays center field. Teddy Dieters is in right, hitting second. Nolan Sailors is the left fielder, hitting third. Ben North is the shortstop, hitting cleanup.
That's right.
Will McLean is the first baseman. He hits fifth. Connor Capisi moves into the designated hitter role today. He hits sixth. Nate McHugh is behind the plate, hitting seventh. Kyle Hess is the second baseman, hitting eighth. And Nick Ventike, making his first start since April the 13th at Seton Hall, is back in the lineup today as Matt Sherman gets a day off. That is
a well-deserved day off for him. So we'll dip into the ball game today. Just a silly little crutch I'm going to lean on today as Connor's at the ballpark. Producer Josh in today. We'll do the normal Tuesday lineup. Allan Bell will join us at 11:30. We will talk what the hell happened to Shedeur Sanders and what the hell happened to the media covering Shedeur Sanders. We'll talk about NBA playoffs, lots of money to be made there. hopefully for you. Kentucky Derby is Saturday, spoiler alert, and we'll ask him how people like you and me who don't regularly watch the ponies, as they're sometimes called, how do we bet the Kentucky Derby when we don't know anything about the Kentucky Derby other than that horse has a funny name? I think I'll bet on that horse. So we'll talk to Allan about that. I know there's a lot of people in the audience who accuse us of
Honk, honk.
for the Creighton Blue Jays, and they're not wrong. They're not wrong, but had to have Jon Walker from the Omaha World Herald on the show today. He'll join us at 1. Blake coming to Omaha. There's 29 kids that are going to play on this basketball team for Creighton and Coach Mack in the fall. They're going to score 37,000 points. Godfathers is going to go bankrupt. Does Creighton even care? I'll get to the bottom of that with Jon Walker. It's Tuesday, so we'll do MLB reaction, overreaction. I'll slap together a top 5 for you, as well as cover everything else that's happening in the world of sports today. Nebraska's had some portal departures today. I'll run down the list for you here after the break. Dylon, young baby Dylon, maybe Dylon no more, signed his name to a very important contract today. We will discuss that. Shedeur, and actually I watched the NBA playoffs last night, and boy, did I pick a hell of a time to start watching the NBA this year. I've watched from afar, so I'm not like diving in completely blind, but I have some NBA takes. I'll try them out on you, the audience, and you'll go, Josh, we don't care about the NBA. Why are you talking about the NBA? And I'll answer, because it's happening. It's the only thing happening right now, so we're going to talk about it. And as you may have been able to glean, we're going to make fun of it, because that's what we do here on the Connor Happer Show. We'll be back. We'll talk everything that's happened within the Husker Athletic Department the last 12 hours. None of it major, but a lot of minor little things happening in Lincoln. We'll cover it all next on 1620 The Zone.
let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
$16.20 The Zone, Connor Happer Show. Connor's at the Chuck today. You got me, producer Josh Odson, until 2 o'clock, which has many of you asking a lot of questions. We go to the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. Equitable Bank, they take banking personally. I don't know if you knew that about them. Colin from White Plains joining us. Hello, Colin. See, I got to do both parts of the bit, and I hate that. I don't think it sounds right, but it's reflexive. When I say the name of an emailer or a texter or a caller, it's literally reflexive. Like my wife will say, I was talking to John today. Hi, John. Like I'll literally do that at home. I've worked myself into a shoot, as they say. Colin in White Plains. Staging a coup, Josh? LFG. Whatever that means, I'm not sure. 4 hours of mayoral issues. Here we come. In a related note, J-Man on the unsponsored YouTube feed, you could sponsor it if you'd like to. Contact the sales department. Josh, aren't you supposed to be crashing the mayoral debate? Everyone sit down. An adult is back in the room. That's right. There was another mayoral debate today that I was not asked to be a part of, which, okay, now it feels personal, okay? If I was supposed to be at the first mayoral debate and they didn't ask me to. Rude. Another mayoral debate today I wasn't asked to be at. Now it feels intentional. The first one felt like an oversight, and now I think they're trying to say something, which I'm going to get to the bottom of. Teresa in the YouTube feed, glad Happer is calling a game and it's not another 1620 The Zone gas mowing accident. That is correct. Connor Happer is alive and well, and I can prove it.
Runner on first base with one out. And
see, there he is. Proof of life for all of you. He's at the Chuck calling today's Creighton versus Omaha game. Never thought I'd say proof of life here at 1620 The Zone, but here we are. We'll pour over some of the goings-on in the world of sports today. I won't bore you with my vanity mayoral campaign anymore. Unless you bring it up and we want to talk about it. I mean, I could tell you how I'd make this city better, but, not everybody wants to hear that. We come to sports as an escape, and let me tell you, I opened up the Twitter machine when I got to work today, and I saw something very nice today. Oregon State football, not where we normally go for things that make us feel very nice in April, but they have a nice graphic here with their entire schedule, with kickoff times and television networks. That's right. Ladies and gentlemen, we've made it. College football kickoff release time is finally upon us as the Oregon State Beavers have released their entire schedule. Only one kick time to be determined. That is their lone conference mate, Washington State. I forget how that whole thing shook out. Are they the Pac-2 or are they the Mountain West? I don't remember. You guys in the chat are smarter than me. I'm sorry. That's the lone kick time that they don't quite know. So I'm not going to go down the list and read you every Oregon State kickoff time, but they are slowly trickling out. So hopefully we'll get some Big Ten, SEC, more relevant to us, quote unquote, kick times. Mike does ask, hi, Mike, who is Oregon State even playing? Great question. I will read you their opponents because it's interesting. Cal, Fresno State, Houston, Wake Forest, Lafayette, Washington State, Sam Houston, Washington State. So a murderer's row of opponents for Oregon State. We run down the rest of the headlines. Shams just tweeting. I know it's Shams, but I call him Shams. Doug Christie and the Sacramento Kings finalizing a multi-year contract to make him the franchise's next head coach. That less than 10 minutes old. So that is why I decided to read that to you. I'm not trying to inundate you with NBA information. We go to the J Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed, where we have a tweet from it's our good friend Pete Thamel. Pete tweet, where he wants you to know, oh, where to go? I just had it. This is awful. Boise State finalizing a new contract for Coach Spencer Danielson. That's not the tweet I was going to read you, but don't worry. I'll find it. You are going to have to listen to me type, though. I'm sorry. I had the wrong Pete. It was Pete Nakos. Different Pete tweet. Nebraska has had 4 transfer portal entries, this morning. Tight end Ian Flint has hit the portal. Offensive lineman David Borchers has hit the portal. Wide receiver Hayes Miller, portal. Cornerback Evan Taylor, portal. I don't know. Someone tell me how to feel about this. I'm going to guess I don't have to feel broken up about these departures. Now, obviously, you want to hoard as much talent as possible, so you don't want anyone to hit the portal, but those were probably not the biggest contributors to the campaign this fall. I'm going to go ahead and guess. Just allow me to editorialize there. But moment of pride here for us as our not-so-tiny baby boy, Dylan Raiola, the young man we used to call Dylon. We still do from time to time, but I've noticed it's less. It's almost as if he's growing before our very eyes. Has signed an NIL deal with Adidas, of all places. Quote, joining the elite family of athletes at Adidas is a tremendous honor, and their support strengthens the journey as we continue building something special in Lincoln. So, Adidas growing their football roster of athletes. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tua Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence, some guy named Patrick Mahomes. Gee, wonder why Dylan had to sign with Adidas. No, that's a joke. We can joke with our friends. Dylan is a friend. I've never met him. We've never talked. But it's just funny seeing Patrick and Dylan in the same place, in the same roster of sponsored athletes. It's funny to me, okay? I'm sorry. It's great for him. It's great. It's great for the program, right? Like you want him, obviously you want him to grow on the field, but part of that is kind of the stuff that the people who are more locked into the day-to-day happenings in spring ball have been telling us. Like that's kind of the one thing that I've been able to like, okay, that's something. You know, normally spring ball is, yeah, I think his team looks great. I think they're going to win 147 games this year. Probably not give up a single point. I expect 4,000-yard rushers. You know, normally we get gassed up this time of year. Everybody looks great. Nobody ever drops the football. You know, every football gets intercepted. Like it's there isn't much we can take from it, right? But kind of the one thing everybody has kind of agreed on and said, okay, that's probably something, is Dylan looks more comfortable in Lincoln in general. He looks more comfortable in front of a microphone. He looks more comfortable talking to the media. And part of that is signing with Adidas, signing these, he had the Panini deal before he ever played it down here in Lincoln. And that was cool. That was big. But grand, you want it to get bigger each year. And, I don't know how it gets bigger than Adidas, not that Adidas is the biggest brand in the world, but, pretty darn big. Gonna be hard to top an NIL deal bigger than that. Now, a follow-up question is, what does that payment look like for you? I'd like to know. If anyone has it in front of it, I haven't read any articles about it. I'm just a man on the radio talking to himself. So if you have the number, put it in the chat. I'd love to read it. But, this is what you want. And hopefully in the fall, we will see Dylan take that leap that we always talk about, right? The leap, the jump, the growth, the development. I feel like we got the right offensive system for him. He's gonna, just on a base level, grow because of that, right? So hopefully everything else kind of follows suit. Like he can not only get better because of the offense, but get better because he's actually getting better at playing the position of quarterback. And, we can see a vast improvement in those numbers. Updating you with the goings on of the Chuck. Tyler Bishop is homered to give the Omaha Mavericks a 2-0 lead, extending his hit streak to 9 games. So in the first inning there, Creighton finds himself in a 2-0 hole. We'll talk to Allan Bell here in a matter of minutes, but I did want to, before we talk to Allan, talk a little bit about just kind of tie a bow on the Shedeur Sanders thing. Like it was the story of the day yesterday. I didn't actually catch the chit chat shows today. Willing to guess that was the topic of conversation again today on those chit chat shows. Get Up, First Take, the chit chat shows. And so sometimes I think I have better takes than the ones I give on the show. Like I do my best radio shows in the car on the drive home sometimes. And I think yesterday was one of those shows. So I'm going to try and piece together what I shouted at my car steering wheel yesterday on the drive home. I normally drive home in silence. This is a noisy job. There's lots of audio, lots of noise, lots of people, lots of things. I drive home in silence because it prepares me for my wife and child. But yesterday I decided to, I don't know, think out loud. And Shedeur Sanders is the thought that came to my mind. He was so often, how could somebody do this to such an outspoken kid? Oh, you're just trying to, put your thumb on an outspoken kid. He's not outspoken. He's not outspoken. Am I wrong on what outspoken means? I don't know his thoughts on anything other than himself. There's a difference between outspoken and loud. There's a difference between outspoken and obnoxious. There's a difference between being a jackass Nepo baby and being outspoken. I don't know. Nothing clued me into the fact that I was, sometimes you'll see something and you'll read a story and you'll go, oh my gosh, I disagree with this article. I disagree with this story. I disagree with this person talking right now. Am I wrong? It makes you question yourself, right? But I saw Michael Wilbon plant his flag in the Mel Kiper Jr. was right category, and I've never been more sure that I was correct in saying that both of those people are wrong before, if that makes any sense. What this whole Shedeur slide thing, and I saw a lot of people going, it wasn't a slide, he's just not that good. And that's generally where my head lies on Shedeur Sanders as well. It is an indictment on the economy of the NFL draft, for lack of a better term. You know, you click on mock drafts on the internet, so they make more mock drafts on the internet. It used to be you could only get Mel Kiper's mock draft, and then it was, well, you can only two people do it, and they both work at ESPN. It's Mel Kiper Jr. and Todd McShay, and they always just happened to disagree and fight, and it was good television, and it was good radio, and it was good to read differing opinions on the subject. And now there's 37,000 people who do a mock draft, and I know this is going to shock you when you hear me say this. I know I'm the only one giving it to you straight like this. I don't think those 37,000 people who do mock drafts watch college football very much. I think there's a lot of copy and paste going on. And, well, you know, I can't hand the teacher the same homework as you, so I have to write it in my own handwriting. So I'll switch picks number 4 and 5. I'll switch picks number 26 and 27, and we'll call it good. Ooh, I'll put a trade in there so that people think I'm not just copying this other guy's homework. So one guy, Mel Kiper, gets a bad piece of intel or something, or has a bad eye for evaluating talent. I don't know. I don't pretend to know how Shedeur Sanders got to the top of Mel Kiper Jr.'s big board. I don't know. That's a whole nother show. Okay. I don't know how Shedeur landed on the top of that board. I don't want to know, quite frankly. But a guy like Mel Kiper, this, you can extrapolate this to so many things outside of just the NFL draft. One guy in the media says, well, Shedeur Sanders he's the best talent in the draft. He should go number 1 overall. You'd be a damned moron to not take Shedeur Sanders number 1. And you have decades of experience, if not credibility. So people, Mel Kiper said. So you kind of run with that, right? Because you're busy with your life. You're not watching all 22. You're not watching every snap of Shedeur Sanders' year at Colorado. You know, you probably are listening to this and you live in Nebraska. You probably watched the North Dakota State game. You probably watched the Nebraska game. You probably watched, there were probably a couple of other games that you found yourself watching, but you're not watching this the way that Mel Kiper is supposed to be doing, supposed to be watching this. You're not analyzing every single quarterback of the draft. And if you are, good for you. That sounds like a hell of a way to make a living, better than a lot of other jobs out there. But so even though you're probably a little like me, and I don't take Mel Kiper's word as gospel, but I do think he knows more about it than me. So, if you're loud enough for long enough, people will begin to question themselves and not you. And some people did that with Mel Kiper. Mel Kiper changed hearts and minds Friday and Saturday and Sunday. You call it gaslighting. You can call it being dead ass wrong. Call it whatever you want. He changed people's minds. He made this a conversation. It was going to be a conversation. We were going to talk about it, but like Mel Kiper was the lighter fluid for this. And I would just say, hey, maybe we don't need to do so many mock drafts. Maybe those are silly because they're not based in any fact. They're based on, well, they need a tight end. That's the best tight end, so I will slot him here. Like that's what it's fictitious. It's BS. It's fake. It's pro wrestling. I love pro wrestling, but I know it's fake. I know the Marvel movies I watch are fake. We need to stop treating NFL mock drafts like they're real, like they matter. Stop reading them. Well, let me walk that back a little bit because I'm not going to stop watching Marvel movies. I'm not going to stop watching pro wrestling, but like we're running this through our filters, right? Like when we consume these mocks, right? Like we know it's not the end all be all, right? Which kind of leads me to my final couple of points here, and then we'll get to Allan Bell, and then we'll probably talk about Shedeur with him, and then we'll probably never talk about Shedeur Sanders again until the preseason, okay? I promise. Well, I can't promise that. Connor might have a leftover take when he comes back tomorrow. When you're a marginal talent in a bad draft class, it's going to be a pass every time. I'll wait till next year. Maybe we'll suck enough to get Arch Manning. Maybe, better. We can suck for one more year. I'm not going to be the guy I'm not going to be the GM. I'm not going to be the head coach that puts his arm around Shedeur Sanders and says, I'll stake my employment on this guy because that ain't going to end well. And guys, I know he could become a Pro Bowler, which doesn't mean anything anymore. It is technically mathematically possible that Shedeur Sanders becomes an NFL champion. He could win a Super Bowl. Okay. I understand you're laughing. Ha, that's very funny, Josh. You're being sarcastic. You're doing that thing where you're sarcastic again. I'm actually not. He could some path. I don't know the path. It's the Doctor Strange. Well, there's one path where it's possible. Shedeur Sanders could win a Super Bowl. He could win an NFL championship in his career. It is mathematically possible. I'm saying it's not probable. It's not likely. I don't think he's a good enough quarterback to do that, but I don't know what's going to happen in this crazy mixed up world. There wasn't anyone that was going to stake their reputation on Shedeur Sanders, okay? Because Shedeur and Dion and that camp got bad intel with how much leverage they had, which was none, clearly. They thought they had some leverage, and when in fact they had none. And it bit them in the ass. It's that simple. It's not racism. It's, trust me, if you've ever listened to the show before, if somebody's being racist to somebody, I'll call it out, okay? I know it annoys a lot of you, but it's true. I'll call it out. We didn't Colin Kaepernick Shedeur Sanders, because Colin Kaepernick, whether you agreed with what he stood for or not, he stood for something and was willing to risk it all. Shedeur didn't risk anything, okay? He's not a political prisoner, okay? He's just a kid that a bunch of adults looked at and said, you're not worth my time. That's all that happened, okay? Not everything is something, sometimes you can just look at something and it is what it is. It's just a jerk kid who got called on his BS and had to pay the consequences for what I'm going to guess is probably the first time in his life. And, maybe that's good for him. The NFL didn't conspire to humble Shedeur Sanders. They just said, thank you next. Okay. He got picked by the team you thought was going to take him, whether it be in the first round, the second round. So it happened to be in the fifth round. Okay. It is what it is. Everyone passed until the value of the pick circled back around to be worth it. And that happened to be the fifth round. If they wanted to send him a message they wouldn't have drafted him. If they wanted to make him a political prisoner of some kind, they wouldn't have drafted him. Okay? Just stop with the knee-jerk reactions. Take a second. Think about what's happening in front of you. And the most likely scenario is probably the answer. Okay? Allan Bell, coming up next. We'll laugh at Shedeur. We'll laugh at sports. We'll have a Kentucky Derby preview of sorts next on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
Allan Bell, the AB3 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
It is Tuesday. We are joined every Tuesday by Allan Bell of Driving the Line. You can follow him on Twitter at Allan G. Bell. Mr. AB, how are you, sir?
Doing fantastic. You doing all right, my man?
We are good. We're good. We're getting by on a Tuesday. We just kind of tied a bow on the second day of ranting about Shedeur Sanders. What was Allan Bell's takeaway from the NFL draft this weekend?
Yeah, man. Like going off Shedeur, like that was obviously the big story, and there are so many elements to it. But again, yeah, I mean, look, that's what happens when you're famous, and sometimes, man, being famous, be careful what you wish for. Because there are a lot of elements that were out of the Sanders' hands, like they didn't ask the president, to be sending messages, right? But he isn't good, man, and it wears people up. So, yeah, other than that, though, I'm excited to see what the Raiders look like. I thought that, they went after it, man. Pete Carroll, yeah. Sanders was obviously the dog, yeah.
You're in Nashville, and I'm a Titans fan. So it is Tuesday, and I've had zero analysis on Cam Ward, the number 1 overall pick, who an afterthought, according to ESPN, almost a direct quote. What are they saying in Nashville about the number 1 pick, our future Lord and Savior, Cam Ward?
Absolutely, it is. Look, minimum 6 Super Bowls.
Yes.
Let's just get that out. I mean, everybody's happy. Like, Cam Ward, I think that he was clearly the best quarterback in the draft, and it wasn't close. And, for everything that we talked about with Shedeur Sanders and all the craziness that was around him, there was nothing around Cam Ward. And that's exactly what you want for a Titans team and organization that's had a lot of craziness over the last 2 years with the coaching staff and the front office and all that. So, Cam Ward just checks all the boxes. But those boxes are off the field boxes, right? We won't know until he gets out there and plays in real games. But, I mean, I think it's good. I think Titans fans were looking for anything that they could just put their hands on and say, okay, here's stability. Here's somebody with some promise. Let's build around them. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to fix Rome in one day, but this is a big block of it. Like, this is a good foundation to start. So everybody's happy for sure.
There's a video I saw. I'm sure you saw it too. It sounds like it was written in like the SNL writers' room. It is Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward standing at the 50-yard line, and Shedeur says, "Hey man, you want to get in the booth and make a track after this? You want to do a song with me after this?" And Cam just goes, "No man, I just play football." And he's like, "You don't have any other interests?" And he goes, "No, I just play football."
Dude, that's good. And it's funny, like going off of that, I was listening to Colin Cowherd over the weekend, and he was saying, kind of similar to that. He was like, look, with athletes, you definitely want them to be people and have lives. He goes, but that doesn't work for quarterbacks. Like, your quarterback has to be obsessed. He goes, I'm not saying that it's right. It's just what it is, and yeah, I that's funny, man. And I think that, with Cam, like, he's focused on football, and if you're a Titans fan, man, he's excited about that.
Allow me that actually wasn't a self-indulgent Titans question. This one is.
Yeah.
What went into Warren Moon allowing Cam to wear the number 1? Do we know that whole story yet?
Well, what goes into it is that, remember the Titans, own the Oilers history, right? Like that's not part of the Texans, it's part of the Titans. And there's been, a push to bring the old Oilers, that are still with us and the legends, within the Titans family. And, you've got Amy Adams Strunk, and the Adams family from Houston, a lot of them still in Houston. That's kind of it's kind of a big deal. Like, maybe not, on the outward to non-Titans fans, but the bringing together of both of those kind of franchises, so to say, actually is pretty big internally. And credit to Warren Moon. We saw Lawrence Taylor say, hell no, you're not taking my number, right? Credit to Warren Moon, man. Like that's a big push, and especially somebody, who pushed barriers, for black quarterbacks, back then. Yeah, man, like that was a big move by Warren Moon. Like, credit to him, man, because it's easy to say no, but he didn't. And he did it for the betterment of the team and for this kid, and he deserves a lot of respect for that.
Let's move to the NBA, where we saw a team on the brink of elimination in front of their home fans lose an NBA playoff game by 55 points last night. And it got me wondering, not the first time we've seen something like that happen. Is there maybe some money to be made on these closeout games? Because there's a lot of series that are at 3-1 right now between a really good team and a really bad team.
Yeah, and you know what? The closeout games, we've got 3 of them tonight out of 4, and those 3 teams are all at home. And expect, like, I'm not saying there's going to be 50-point blowouts, right? But yeah, like it's even more. It's surprising that the Heat did that at home. I mean, that is a bad look, like to the fans and anybody who paid money for that game. That is a brutal, brutal look. But the team, you know, that could win the series tonight, them playing at home, that absolutely is going to play into it. And you're going to see, you know, teams push to just get that good feel, man. Like it's in everyone's favor to knock these teams out and make sure that fans enjoy themselves. Not that that's the number one most important thing for the team, but it helps. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you've got a Pacers team. I think that they can blow the Bucks out. The Knicks and Pistons game is fascinating. The Celtics could absolutely blow the Magic out. So yeah, like you'll see some large spreads, especially the Celtics. I think 11.5-point favorites. Ride it. Like, absolutely ride it. The Celtics will lock them down defensively. The Magic will have a very difficult time with that.
And then Saturday is the Kentucky Derby all of a sudden. How can a novice kind of find an edge in betting horse racing when they only watch at maximum 3 horse races a year?
Yeah, so what you want to do, right? Like, you know, have fun with it, but keep it in reason. These races, I mean, they're animals, right? Like, it's tough to gauge how they're going to do, you know, in a race, right? But you want to pay attention to the weather, all right? You definitely want to know if it's going to be raining or not, because the Derby's a lot like the Masters. Like, there can be rain involved. But really what you want to do is you want to kind of hedge yourself, right? Like, you pick a winner, throw a couple bucks on it, have fun. But if you're really trying to bet it, you know, look at, you know, doing, you know, trifectas, things to where you pick the top 3 and it doesn't necessarily have to be in order. Those are the ways to go about playing this, because again, what do we really know? You know what I mean?
That horse has a funny name.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that one has nice stripes. I like him. You know what I mean? Like, I'd pet him. Like, yeah, like, just be careful. Build yourself some insurance, because picking a winner is very difficult. But for the most part, favorites tend to finish in the top 3. So, yeah, for sure, pay attention to them.
I'm about to ask you a question I don't know if you know the answer to. How come when I bet on horse, like I'll go to my mobile sports betting app of choice, and I will want to bet the Kentucky Derby, and then we'll go, well, you have to do that over here on a different, it's our horse betting site. You can't do it on this app. You got to do it over there. Why is that?
Because it's a different commission. It's ran by a different group, right? So, you know, horse racing is based off of the parimutuel, right? So you see when you have, you know, people across the country that are betting on specific horses, you see the payouts change out based on the amount of money that's in there. So again, it's more complicated than that, but essentially it's a different group and a different commission that these are regulated by. So you'll see companies like TwinSpires that partner up with FanDuel, but you can't bet it on FanDuel. You'll have to go through TwinSpires, or, you know, not giving them a plug, but, you know, your app of choice of how you go about it. So yeah, the short answer is that it's managed by different groups.
Okay, very technical question. I want to get you out of here on 2 very nonsensical questions. Your thoughts on a mint julep?
Love them. It's stronger than you think. If people haven't had them, and what I mean by that, the taste of it, like, not that like, oh, this drink is strong, it's 8 shots of it. No, but it's stronger than you think. But I enjoy them. I'm in for anything.
There you go. Great take. And finally, carrot cake. I don't know if we've ever asked you this before. Your thoughts on carrot cake?
Oh, I absolutely love carrot cake. It is fantastic. Wow. Yeah, are you guys negative on carrot cake?
I don't like carrot cake, and everyone in the office makes fun of me. Like, you don't like carrot cake? I'm like, no, carrots don't belong in cake.
Like, I love it. You can go icing or no icing. I take it either way, man. I'm a big carrot cake guy.
All right, you can have my carrot cake, Allan.
There we go. I love it.
All right, Allan Bell driving the line. Watch all the stuff they do. Very intelligent and entertaining at the same time. That's a hard line to walk, and they walk it really well over there. AB, thanks again.
Appreciate you, brother. Have a good one, man. Take care.
All right, there he is, Allan Bell, driving the line. NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, derby time. He's always betting college baseball and MLB. He'll find you an edge wherever possible. And as Mike says, this is important. Be careful is always the way to go when gambling. We'll step aside. We'll come back, deliver you the odd news next on the Connor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone.
The Connor Happer Show. Follow us on Twitter @Happer Show for all the latest news and views. We may even say something interesting once in a while.
Unlikely.
Really, guys?
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
Connor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone. Producer Josh. I have all the control today because Connor Happer is away at a baseball game. He's at the Chuck. Creighton's won 8 games in a row. They're looking to make it 9 in a row with their crosstown rivals, the Omaha Mavericks. Top of the third, 3-0. Omaha leads Creighton. They've got 2 on, 2 out. Let's go to the Chuck. What do you say?
Angle of 41 degrees. One got sky high. There's 2 away for Blake Stanger. He takes outside for ball 1.
Mm-hmm.
If Burke can finish this inning off, minimize the damage to 1 run,
Unsisk.
that's a win for this situation with how the inning started with 3 straight singles.
The 1-0 to Stanger. Missed. outside.
There's our boy Connor Happer calling a baseball game, living his dream of Kids Day at the Chuck. Creighton looking, they need to. I told Nebraska this, so I have to stay consistent. Don't lose to Omaha, okay? You don't want to. Fine people over there, but they're Creighton is in a better position than Omaha is right now. You've won 8 in a row. I understand it's baseball. It's a midweek game. It doesn't necessarily matter, but don't lose to Omaha, okay? You're going to want that one in your back pocket later. But this is the odd news, so we will laugh about all the weird things happening in sports. We go to the UFL, a place that we don't normally go, so something very odd must have happened. Saturday night, a good night for fighting, some say. Michigan Panthers players and a fan in St. Louis got into it. You know, St. Louis, the Battlehawks, they're the only team that draws any fans to their games or something like that. Video of a confrontation between Michigan Panthers receiver Samson Nakua and a fan leaning over the railing following the Panthers' 32-27 loss to the Battlehawks. Nakua lunged toward the fan. They were jawing at each other. And that's when it got physical as Samson Nakua slapped the fan in the face. Receiver Adonis Alexander, which, timeout, incredible professional wrestling name, Adonis Alexander. I'm mad that I haven't thought of that for myself. So, wow, Adonis Alexander, what a great wrestling name. But he's a Michigan Panthers wide receiver. And Samson Nakua is, yes, the brother of Puka Nakua. So, they don't let you hit the fans, Samson. They don't, so you're probably going to get a phone call from some people. Some of them might be a lawyer. Some of them might be the commissioner, whoever's running the UFL, which is apparently not The Rock. I was sadly informed that he's just a figurehead now. But, they don't let you hit the fans. Now, that would be a league. Hey, there's been, Russell Westbrook's always getting popcorn thrown at him and stuff like that. And what if there was a league that lets you hit the fans? Attendance might be lacking, but maybe it's an idea somebody wants to run with. I don't know. Travis in the chat is right. This is going to be a clear both sides are idiots situation. You're absolutely right. We go to Humboldt County. Now I'm not sure where Humboldt County is. It ain't the one near here because the website I got this from had a lighthouse on it. So I'm going to guess the I-95 corridor northeast version of this great country of ours. Jury duty. 12 people in a jury. I don't know if you knew that. There's 12 people in a jury. They sit Tori Wilmington down. She's 47 years young. And the judge asked her, hey, do you know anyone else here in the courtroom? And she said, well, yes, I do. She sounds, in my head, Tori Wilmington, the main character of this story, sounds like a suburban mom. Like, I don't know anything about Tori Wilmington. I know she's married. We're going to get to that. But this is just what she sounds like in my, well, yes. And the judge said, okay, who do you know? My husband, the juror in the back. And the judge said, well, that's never happened before. I don't know how they got to that point, but the judge asked the juror, hey, do you know anyone here? And she said, yeah, my husband's in the back row. Pretty extraordinary coincidence. Her husband of 15 years, David Wilmington, age 53. Hello. Both served on the trial for a drunk driver. Perfectly legal, by the way. Like, now, I imagine, had anybody known about this I don't think they were trying to hide it. They just a lapse in judgment, I guess, somewhere along the way. Like, I guess if they were to talk about it at home, it would be Like, that's when you can't do it? I don't know. I've never served on a jury. I would love to. I would love to serve on a jury because I love the process that this great city provides. I'm going to get a letter in the mail tomorrow. I just know it. I just know it. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you on the front end that I love jury duty. But yeah, husband and wife, they found themselves on the same jury. Kind of odd, wouldn't you say? And now finally, we got to talk about what happened in Crime Town this morning, or yesterday, I guess. Yesterday morning, excuse me. Crime Town residents, maybe you can get in the chat here and fill in some of the question marks I have on this story. Authorities say a grenade was found Monday morning in a South Lincoln neighborhood. It's been traced back to a burglary victim who unknowingly lost the device during a car break-in. Authorities were called around 9:30 a.m. to the area of 35th and Lake after someone reported finding a possible grenade on the sidewalk. Out of an abundance of caution, hazmat teams arrived, safely removed it from the area. The bomb squad later confirmed the grenade was real but inert, which means it ain't got no boom. It ain't got no boom left. It was turned over to the military for proper disposal. However, about an hour later, police received a call from a man, said, "Hey, my car has been broken into. There's a grenade in there." And that's when the bomb squad or police said, "Yeah, no, we know, buddy." And then, as Mike points out in the chat, a second grenade was found near 20th and Lake. Someone preparing for an estate sale found it. Authorities believe the two inert grenades found in Lincoln yesterday are not related. What are the odds? Lincoln Fire and Rescue sent to a home where Rhonda, I'll leave her last name out since she's local. She doesn't need to be hassled by the yahoos who listen to this station, mainly me. She was working to get the home ready for an estate sale. One of my helpers said she had a grenade. And I said, "Okay, whoa, what's happening?" Great quote. Swanson and her employees called LPD's non-emergency line. Great job not tying up the emergency line. More people need to think like that. I did not think it was live, but you can't be too careful, said a lady working in the home. So we decided the right thing to do was call the authorities. They brought the bomb squad out. Busy day for the Lincoln bomb squad yesterday. The second, how are these two? One's on 20th and Lake, one's on 35th and Lake. They're both inert grenades. What are the odds? What's going on in Crime Town? Why are there so many grenades in Crime Town? I don't know, but luckily they're not live grenades. They're not doing any damage. It's just fodder for idiots on the radio like me to talk about. So we'll step aside. The show somehow is halfway over, and I've only just begun to complain about the things that are bothering me. So we'll do that next. I'll bother you with a round of NBA takes. Yes, I know. You don't care about the NBA. No one cares about the NBA. But we will talk about it next.
he does it the only way he knows how. With his massive sports brain sprinkled with a smidgen of rabble-rousing. Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Noon hour on the Connor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone. Connor Happer calling a baseball game today. He's at the Chuck for Creighton and Omaha. It is 3-0 Omaha, leading Creighton in the bottom of the third. We're not illegally disseminating. This game is available on our family of networks, so we have access to Connor's call.
Easy call for Jeff Hendricks.
That's Glenn Sisk.
Fintiker strikes out for just the 15th time this year. And
That's
back
Connor
to the top
Happer.
of the Blue Jay order for Tate Gillen. Runner on first base with one out. Jays in a 3-0 hole here on Kids Day. Weber, the pitch, in there for strike one.
You can just hear them. You can just hear the cacophony of children at the Chuck. Oh, I love that alliteration. Cacophony of children at the Chuck. As Creighton trails Omaha 3-0. 8-game win streak on the line for the Blue Jays. Want to talk about in this segment? Well, we got a little bit of time here. A lot happening. In the NBA. Have you dipped into what's going on over there? It's something. Let me tell you. Last night I said, I'm hosting a 4-hour sports radio show tomorrow. I need some sports to talk about. And I said, perhaps the NBA will provide something for me to discuss. And yes, they did, as the Miami Heat, on the brink of elimination in front of their home fans, lost an NBA playoff game by 55 points. No, nobody had a crippling injury in the first quarter, and it just got away from them. It just they suck, and they were playing the number 1 seed. The 64-18 Cleveland Cavaliers defeated the 37-45 Miami Heat, 138-83. Miami had, let me do the math here. I'm bad at math. I shouldn't have volunteered to do that. 33 points at halftime. The Cavs scored 43 points in the first quarter alone. So, I understand. Some nights, it's just not your night. The Heat shot 20% from 3. The Cavs shot 46% from 3. The Cavs are the 1 seed. The Heat are I'm going to call them the 8 seed with the play-in turn. I don't know how it works, man. Like, come on. But I would like to read you a quote before I give, because I told you earlier in the show, I haven't watched a ton of NBA this year. I've dipped my toe in the water whenever necessary, but it's not always necessary for this show. In fact, it's very rarely necessary. But I would like to read you a quote. Hardest working, best conditioned, most professional, unselfish, toughest, meanest, nastiest team in the NBA. That's a quote from the Miami Heat's own court. Not last night. That would have been funny. But the NBA thinks if there's a weirdo court on the floor, you'll watch the game. I don't know why, but sure, whatever. The Heat have this thing called Heat culture. I'm sure you're very aware of. That's the motto of Heat culture. It was so important to them and their franchise that they put it on the floor. Let me read it again because I think it's important here. Hardest working, best conditioned, most professional, unselfish. Well, they got that one right. They were very unselfish of them to not bother competing in an NBA playoff game and allow the Cleveland Cavaliers an easy path to the second round. Toughest, meanest, nastiest team in the NBA. This got to a point where, obviously, the TNT folks broadcasting the game yesterday were obviously Charles and Shaq and Kenny were making fun of this because they make fun of everything, right? They make fun of everything and everybody, and that's what we love about them, right? But Ernie Johnson, EJ, the straight man of it all, said, boy, that might have been the worst basketball game I've ever been forced to watch. As, again, the Heat lost an NBA playoff game at home by 55 points. If you combine the scores of all 4 games, the Cavs won by like 120-something points or something like that. The largest, I believe that would be an aggregate score in a playoff series ever. Like, so this is essentially what they're trying to say when they say that is this is the most lopsided NBA playoff series in the history of NBA playoff series. And to which I say, we got to do something. But this can't be. You've allowed 2/3 of your league to make the playoffs or the play-in, however you want to call it, frame it, whatever. 2/3 of the league is not eliminated on the final day of the regular season. We got to change some things, man. The Heat were 19-22 at home this year. Like, obviously, down year for the Heat. They traded Jimmy Butler amid some, let's call it messiness. And boy, did he come out looking like a rose yesterday. He said, I don't know if you remember or if you haven't paid attention to the NBA this year, at a certain point in the year, Jimmy Butler said, enough is enough. I would like to leave Miami. I don't like it here anymore. Thank you. You should trade me. And they said, no, we will not be doing that. You are Jimmy Butler. You are important to this franchise. You're our only hope at getting anywhere in the postseason. We would like you to stay. And he said, I would really like to leave, though. And so they kind of had a bleep measuring contest for a couple weeks. He got suspended a couple different times. And Jacob, if you're listening and I'm getting some of this wrong, just let it go, man. Just let it go, okay? I'm getting the broad stroke right here. So the Heat end up trading Jimmy Butler to the Warriors, where, as Connor has indicated, what's his through line on the NBA? The players don't want to play basketball games anymore. Well, Jimmy Butler got out of Miami and into a situation that has deemed him happy for the time being. And he said, ooh, I'd like to inject life into this aging Warriors team. And I understand he himself is aging, but you get the point. And the playoffs hit. He's happy with the Warriors. So enter playoff Jimmy, as the Warriors beat the Rockets last night. That was actually a good game. That was entertaining. It was close. Warriors won by 3, like 109, 106 or something like that. And very chippy second quarter. I swear that game took like 3 hours to play. I swear it went like 9 to midnight. I'm sure it didn't, but man, it felt like it dragged at some times. But the second quarter, very chippy, as Draymond Green did what he does and, tried to fight everybody. Sometimes it wasn't his fault. Like, you got to call him for the flagrant there, I think, because of his history, but kind of tricked into it there, if you ask me. So the Warriors, I would call that the lesser seed, the poorer seed. They lead the Rockets 3-1. That's interesting. They're about 3 second quarter, not fights, because nobody fights in the NBA anymore, and they certainly don't do it in the playoffs. Skirmishes, tiffs, if you'd like to call them that. So there were about 3 of those in that game yesterday. So the Warriors injected with new life. That's been an entertaining series, the Warriors and the Rockets. But Jimmy Butler wins, right? He said, you guys suck. I got to get out of here. He was proven right there. He goes to the Warriors. I don't know that they even needed to win this series for him to be proven right, but he'll be proven right assuming the Warriors don't blow a 3-1 lead, that would never happen. So he comes out looking like a rose. And the other NBA note I wanted to pass along, just sort of prepare you for, I guess. Tonight the Bucks play the Pacers at 5:00 on NBA TV. The Pacers lead that series 3-1. Dame tore his Achilles, so he's out for obviously the remainder of this season, most likely next season as well. This is probably going to be the final game in a Bucks uniform for Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I kind of don't think, I hate this phrase. I kind of feel like we're not talking about it enough. I understand, it's because everyone hates the NBA, Josh. You're boring everyone with this segment. This is actually interesting. Giannis is going to go to a different team next year, and that team's going to think, well, we've got title favorite written all over us because we've got Giannis. And, I'll kind of lay it out here for you. Even with Dame, the Bucks were probably not good enough to beat the Pacers. So that's kind of the baseline of where we're at. They need to get better than they are currently constructed. For some reason, they said, hey, let's trade Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma. And if you're like, Josh, I don't know who those people are, dumb it down for me. Well, I've got just the stat for you. The other day in 22 minutes of playoff basketball, Kyle Kuzma registered 0 statistics. No points, no rebounds, no assists, no foul. He didn't do anything but run in circles for 22 minutes. Bad trade. Okay? That I've dumbed it down for you 3 ways. Okay? Bad trade. Because of a series of other trades, with Dame, with the middle, with all these other trades to make the Bucks better, the Milwaukee Bucks are left without a first-round pick until the year 2031. Because generally, first-round picks in the NBA draft don't matter. They throw them around like currency, like candy. Like, here, have a first-round pick. Oh, then not a good enough deal for you? Here, have a first-round pick. Ah, great deal. Okay. So Dame tears his Achilles. He has a rather large contract. So the Bucks are stuck. The Bucks are stucks. They can't rebuild in free agency because Dame's hogging all the money. We can't get rid of Dame because he's injured for the foreseeable future. And he had the very serious blood clot thing. And you don't begrudge him for getting injured, but you're like, man, that contract wasn't great to start with. And now it's a giant albatross around our necks. They can't rebuild in the draft because they don't have any first round picks. And Draymond Green's the only second round draft pick in NBA history to be worth a darn. I understand that's a very broad statement. I understand Bronny James will be a legend in this league, and he was a second round draft pick. It leaves the Milwaukee Bucks with I guess 2 options. Stay the course and get their brains beat in every year in the first round of the playoffs, because with Giannis, they'll never be bad enough to miss the playoffs and get a lottery pick. They'll never be good enough to advance. Or you can trade Giannis Antetokounmpo, which didn't think we'd be here that quick, but here we are. And I see a lot of the NBA. Gives me a chance to do this. The NBA honks. Honk. A lot of those guys who cover the league. The Bucks are not a glamorous franchise. Milwaukee's not a glamorous city. So they're very excited for Giannis, the aspect of Giannis to be traded to the Lakers or, somewhere else. To maybe a glamour franchise in the NBA so that they can finally enjoy watching Giannis play basketball instead of only hearing through the grapevine how good Giannis Antetokounmpo is at basketball. Spoiler alert, he's very good. And sort of the general reaction from the NBA honks is, well, the Bucks got that one title, so that's all they could ask for. Well, I mean, like, I guess you're right on the surface, but I mean, he was kind of the guy that was like, I know everybody says this when they play in a small market. No, I like the small market. It's cozy here. I like it. And then they get into the lap of luxury and they're like, wow, why was I ever playing basketball in Milwaukee? I believe it might be pronounced Milwaukee, though. So I just don't think well, they got the one title. So no, this is sad. This is sad that Giannis is likely done in Milwaukee after tonight, which isn't even a home game for the Milwaukee Bucks. Like, so kind of watch how he leaves the court. I understand it's not a home game, so maybe we could go back and did he do the Drew Brees or the Aaron Rodgers stop at the corner of the court and longingly look back? Like, did he do that? I probably would have heard about it if he did, but let's look at let's be body language experts. Everybody hates when we're body language experts, but maybe do that tonight for Bucks Pacers on NBA TV at 5:00. There's 4 NBA games tonight. The other 3 are better than Bucks Pacers, but what a death sentence 5 p.m. on NBA TV is. I would just ask for a little more reverence in NBA circles. Not of you, general person yelling at your radio right now who says, "Go, Josh, I hate the NBA." Giannis playing his last game in Milwaukee, potentially, is a very sad thing because they got him to re-sign after the title, and it was, all right, we avoided the pitfall of him just leaving us because we weren't big enough. And you see this more and more. You really see it in the NBA where guys like, well, I got to go to a glamour franchise. We saw Kevin Durant make it work in Oklahoma City, which, by the way, while we're in Oklahoma City, gosh, what if the Oklahoma City Thunder just didn't have the pieces to make the NBA Finals this year, and they decided to trade one of their 37 first-round draft picks to the team that doesn't have any first-round draft picks, and in exchange get Giannis Antetokounmpo and have SGA lob that thing up to Giannis. I understand they have a twig boy in Chet Holmgren there as well, but SGA lobbing up balls to Giannis has some real Dwayne Wade, Shaquille O'Neal energy to it, if you ask me. But again, I don't know as much about the NBA as others, so I would just ask for a little more reverence from the NBA honks.
Hell,
honk,
honk, honk, honk.
I'm producing and hosting. What more do you want? I might hit a wrong button sometimes. Okay, gosh. Connor Happer Show. Connor is at the Chuck for baseball. They're in the top of the 4th inning. Creighton is clawing their way back. Not all the way there yet. Mavs lead the Blue Jays 3-2 in the top of the 4th inning. We will step aside. We'll come back. We'll have not NBA talk. It doesn't matter what I talk about after this, but I'll tell you, it's MLB reaction, overreaction. We do it every Tuesday here on the Connor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone. Connor Happer Show 1620 The Zone. Connor out today, back tomorrow. He is calling Creighton baseball on 1180 The Zone. Bottom of the fourth. Jays trail the Mavs 3-2. So we'll see if the Blue Jays can notch their 9th win in a row. Got an email in the Equitable Bank Zone inbox from Jerry. Hi, Jerry. Josh, why do you seem so broken up about Giannis headed out of Milwaukee? This happens in the NBA all the time. Players move more frequently there than in other leagues, and tend to move towards the super team philosophy. And I would say that's exactly my point, is that Giannis was sort of the mold for, no, I don't want to play on a super team. I don't want to go play. I don't want to play for the Sixers. I don't want to play for the Celtics. I don't want to play for the Lakers. The Bucks drafted me. The Bucks I want to stay here. I like it here. He didn't want to leave. This was, sure, he brought Dame to Milwaukee, and with Chris Middleton, they thought they had a real big trio there. Probably not a good enough trio to win an NBA title, but if you were in the Bucks locker room, you would talk yourself into that, right? He didn't want the super team. He didn't want to leave. This isn't a player. This isn't Jimmy Butler, who I talked about in the same segment. Just to put it succinctly, whining his way out of town into a new. This isn't a situation where a player became a malcontent and I'm going to make it so miserable for you here until you trade me, and begging and pleading and finally getting what he wanted in a new trade. This is a guy who seemed to defend Milwaukee, defend the Bucks, and no, we can do it here. I don't have to go somewhere else. I can do it here. And now the Bucks are sort of left without another option. I mean, I guess sucking is an option, but that's just going to get your GM and your coach and everybody fired. It's not okay, right? So I guess that was my point. Maybe I didn't phrase it correctly, but that was my point, was that, we see it happen the Jimmy Butler way all the time, and you can be a class act about it, and it still ends up happening to you. I'm not saying Jimmy Butler is not a class act. Don't put it on the internet that I said Jimmy Butler isn't classy. He's a very classy individual, a man who sells his own coffee and maybe dated Selena Gomez. Had to. But enough basketball. Everyone hates the basketball talk. Mike said I became Nick Baugh for a second, and let me tell you, let me look right into the camera when I say this. There is no greater compliment that you could give me. I understand I say things sarcastically a lot, and even the tone of my voice right now, you may be reading as sarcasm. It's not. No greater compliment, because nobody has ever had more fun being on the radio than Nick Baugh. I'm hearing his laugh in my head, and it is making me laugh right now. That screech laugh that he does. It's incredible. We love you, Nick. We're proud of you. But this is I know, writers. I know. Shut up, writers. A talent is talking. This is MLB Reaction, Overreaction, where the writers compile a list of takes, and I'm left to tell you whether or not they are proper reactions or gross overreactions. Shall we begin? Allow me to take a sip of my beverage, as I'm producer and co-host. Well, not co-host, only host. Take number one. The Mets are a wagon and will defeat the Dodgers en route to the World Series. Well, you take a look at the standings. the doorbell's ringing. Anybody going to get that? Mets have the best record in the sport at 20-9. Meanwhile, the Dodgers are in a neck-and-neck four-way battle for their own division with the Giants, Padres, and Diamondbacks. Boy, I don't know if I can really you're going to go, "Oh, this is the Braves fan talking." No, it's the guy who has seen. Would it shock anyone, including Mets fans, if the Mets just let it run down their leg towards the end of the season and were in fact not the best team in baseball? They're 12-1 at home. They're 8-8 on the road. So, like, looking at the 20-9 record, that's a hole in it. Okay, when this team gets out of Queens, they appear to be beatable. I'm going to call this an overreaction because it's the Mets, and they tend to fall apart when the lights get bright, and the lights are not bright right now. Many in Philadelphia are absolutely. You should hear the way Phillies fans and people, the media in Philly. I know Phillies fans and the media in Philly. I've answered my own question there, but you should hear the way they talk about the Phillies. They talk about the Phillies like they're the Rockies, like they're a 4-win team. The Phillies are in second place at 15-13. We've played a month of the season, and they're ready to just pack it in. Like, the way the Mets talk about the Mets right now is, hey, the best team in the sport. We're going to win it all. Like, do you want to give us a trophy now, or should we wait till October? And the way the Phillies are reacting, like, oh, woe is me, the sky is falling, we're a terrible organization. That's the way losers talk. Meanwhile, the Atlanta Braves, in third place in the division, started 0-7. And y'all laughed at me. I'm going to need the apology to be just as loud as the disrespect, by the way. That's the way the Mets and the Phillies react to their own teams is a very new money way to react to your team. Like, oh, you ain't been doing this very long, have you? It's baseball. It's a 6-month season. The Mets are not the best team. The Phillies are not the worst team. The Braves were not as bad as they were when they were 0-7. Like, just let it play out. Like, it's April 29th, okay? Take number 2. The Yankees are head and shoulders above the rest of the American League. Well, I don't know about this one, writers. That feels like you're auditioning for like First Take or something with these first two questions. Like you're just trying to get national media to talk about we got to talk about the New York baseball teams. The Yankees are only a game and a half ahead of the Red Sox for their own division. The Tigers have a better record than them in the American League. The Mariners are a game off of the Yankees in the AL. The Astros, Athletics, and Rangers are all like 2 games. Like, we're bunched up in the AL is what I'm trying to say. But now, I assume, writers, this question stems from the Yankees' very volatile offense, which has scored 158 runs this year. They have the largest run differential in the AL. They're bludgeoning some teams at times, but they're also very good at home and have a 500 record on the road. So the 2 New York baseball teams have been very, very insulated at home right now. And that's not gonna, you're not gonna maintain that over 162 games. So I'm gonna call this an overreaction as well. They may very well win the AL, but they are not head and shoulders above the rest in the AL right now. Like, do I believe in the Tigers? No, not really. Do I believe in anyone in the AL Central? No, not really. Sorry, Connor. I want the Royals to do well, but boy, they really can't seem to hit the baseball. I think America would root for the Mariners. But the Mariners got to, they got to do some work on their end too. We've fallen in love with a Mariners team before and been hurt. So many will, probably not try and get hurt again, as they say. Take number 3. The Giants will keep up this pace all year. Now, what the hell does that mean, writers? Okay. The Giants are 19-10. That's the same record as the Los Angeles Dodgers, the presumed World Series champion. Boy, you would not catch me saying that the Dodgers aren't going to figure it out and pull away from this field. This is undoubtedly the best division in baseball, even with the Colorado Rockies in it, because someone has to finish 4th in this division. Right now, it's the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are very, very good. But do I think the Giants are going to keep up this? I mean, Logan Webb is pitching very good right now. They have Verlander, right? So, I mean, they're probably going to be taken lightly, but no, I don't think they will run neck and neck with the LA Dodgers for the remainder of the season, writers. What a silly thing for you to say. Take number 4. The Mariners will win the AL West. Ooh. So this is a division that has a resurgent LA Angels team on it. They're in last place, are the Angels. The Rangers, who won a World Series not too long ago, have a lot of pieces. They're believed to... Really, the Rangers have only scored 87 runs this year. Really, that's worst in the AL. They're supposed to have a very good offense. I'm just learning this now in front of you before our very eyes. The Rangers, Athletics, and Houston Astros are all tied for second place in the AL West, just a game behind the Seattle Mariners, who I should have looked this up ahead of time, but I didn't because I'm not good at my job. There, I said it. Stibbs, is Stibbs listening? Stibbs, what's the Mariners' record in one-run games? It feels like every day they play a one-run game and Cal Raleigh does something amazing to lift the Mariners to victory. I want this to be true, but as I alluded to in the last topic, I've been burned by a Mariners team before. I'm wearing a Ken Griffey Jr. hat today, by the way. I just think the Astros always figure it out. I feel like the Rangers are too big and bad to be in 4th place for long. So, I mean, I'm going to call it an overreaction. I would love to be proven wrong, but we'll see. Finally, the Rockies will set the record for futility. Okay, now this, I didn't think we'd be here either for, doing the I don't know what USC called it last year, but, they checked in on the White Sox every week and, are they on pace to be the worst team in baseball history? Right now, the Rockies are 4-24. Let it be known that Nick Grimm said there was no way they would lose 100 games this year. That seems to be a certainty at this point. In the modern era, the lowest win percentage is the 1916 Philadelphia Athletics, who went 36-117 for a winning percentage of .235. They finished 54.5 games back, by the way. The 2024 Chicago White Sox finished 41-21 for a winning percentage of .253. I know this is a lot of numbers I'm throwing at you. So let's just say, okay, maybe now the question was, will they set the record for futility? But let's just use the White Sox of last year as an example for what futility can look like in 2025, 2024, whatever. 41-121. Rockies on pace record. Let's see what comes up when we Google that. The Rockies are on pace for 23 wins, which is 18 fewer than the Chicago White Sox of last year. They would have to get hot to chase the White Sox of last year, which would put them closer to the Philadelphia Athletics. Let's see if we can. I think we did this yesterday, or maybe we did it Friday. MLB records on this date last year, April 29th, 2024. Okay. This might be what we want it to be, as I Google things live on the radio instead of being prepared. On this date last year, the White Sox were 6-23. So the current Colorado Rockies are, for math's sake, let's call it 2. 2 games worse than the Rockies. So they're running neck and neck with last year's White Sox, which is not the record for futility, but it's a fresh in our mind bookmark, as you probably did not watch a lot of the 1916 Philadelphia Athletics. Maybe you watched the 62 Mets, who went 40-120, but fresh in our mind, Chicago White Sox of last year. Let that be the gold standard for futility. And have you seen their new jerseys, which are just the Bulls jerseys from the 90s? Woof. So I'm going to say overreaction on the Rockies breaking the 1916 record in baseball for futility. Can they be as bad as last year's White Sox? Yeah, it's very possible that they might be that bad. No savant corner. That's a Connor thing. I don't want to infringe on his territory, so we will skip the savant corner for today. Travis says, you're still more prepared than the Rockies are. Thank you, Travis. J-Man acting as my research department today. Thank you, J-Man. The Mariners are 6-3 in one-run games. That's a good record in one-run games. That is generally the team that finishes best in one-run games is generally they find themselves in the playoffs, because what's the old adage? You're gonna what is it? You're gonna win 50 games. You're gonna lose 50 games. It's what you do in the other 50 games that determines how good or bad you are in a season, or something like that. Or, I'm probably butchering the saying, but do well in one-run games, and you will find yourself probably in some good places. We will come back. We'll have some more fun. We'll have some more frivolity. Maybe we'll check in with Connor down at the Chuck. Jays still trail the Mavs 3-2. They're in the bottom of the 5th there. About 15 minutes, we'll be joined by Jon Walker. Blue Jays got another portal pickup. How the heck do they keep doing this? I imagine the answer is money, but is it anything more than that? We'll try and find some answers on hashtag the dinner and all sorts of things. We're having fun on a Tuesday. Thank you for joining us on the Connor Happer Show. Producer Josh hosting today on 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone, Connor Happer Show. Producer Josh Hodson filling in for Connor today. I'm washing and drying the dishes today, and that's okay because my man's Connor Happer gets to do the thing he loves, which is sit at a baseball park all day with a bunch of screaming children. And we go to that baseball park right now, downtown the Chuck Creighton and Omaha on Kids Day. Bottom of the fifth, Jays trail 3-2. They got 2 runners on, nobody out. The runners are at second and third. Let's hear what Connor has to say about this.
And now Teddy Dieters will step in. Dieters had an RBI single his last time up. He lifts a high fly ball in foul territory. Both the catcher and first baseman calling for it. First baseman Bishop will make the catch for out number 2.
Bishop.
So Dieters retired on 1 pitch on a foul fly.
That's Glenn Sisk. They're in the bottom of the fifth at the Chuck, tied at 3 now. Jays scored a run. I missed it. Trying to set it up for you, the radio audience. I missed the game-tying run. That would have been fun.
Breaking ball in the middle of the zone and just popped it up into foul territory. See if Nolan can come through. RBI double. Last time up.
Sailors 1 for 2. Hossick's pitch on the way. Outside for ball 1.
Somebody do something. What's happening?
Long look at second. The 1-0 offering. Catches the outside corner for strike 1, 1-1.
Really hoping somebody would have slugged it out of the park or something. That would have been fun. But again, I stepped over the game-tying run trying to set it up for you. Baymon says, don't apologize, Josh. At least you take your responsibilities to the show's listeners seriously. Unlike other layabouts who I will not mention by name. Thank you, Baymon. We would never mention any other layabouts named. Chris upset that I didn't like his Tigers. You know I'm a Tarek Skubal guy. I prefer to call him Tariq, but you know. I like him. I guess I don't trust any of the other teams in that division, and someone has to win it. Tigers went to the playoffs last year. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe I'm talking myself into the Tigers, Chris. But one more little note from basketball, because I think this is going to be a trend, and I'm not talking about NBA games here, okay? Sacramento State. We got Jon Walker coming here at in less than 10 minutes. We'll talk to him about the Blue Jays portal pickup, so more basketball. Shaquille O'Neal was hired by Sacramento State to be the general manager for this team. And while the irony of Shaquille O'Neal now having to support Sacramento athletics when he did so much to tear it down in the early 2000s, the irony of that is not lost on me, however, I think I see a trend happening here, and I don't like it. Maybe I'm late to it. Maybe everyone realized this already, and so I apologize. Our middling basketball and football teams going to hire a celebrity GM to gin up interest, and hey, if we hire Shaq as the GM, maybe when we're recruiting kids to Sacramento State, we can tell them Shaq will be here. He won't be there. And, we can tell the kids, oh, you want to come to Sacramento State. Shaq's our GM. He knows basketball, and he's putting together our team. He's not putting together the team. But is this what's going to happen? And then Sacramento State can go to the boosters and say, hey, we got Shaq. You need to, we're going to pass around the hat. If you could put some money in it. I mean, we got Shaq. So we're going to this Sacramento State basketball program's a rocket ship. You could be on this rocket ship. You could be Katy Perry. You back there, you can be Gail King if you just give us thousands and thousands of dollars. Shaq doesn't care about Sacramento State basketball. He has many other jobs. He has many other endorsements. He doesn't care whether or not Sacramento State basketball takes off. He's not staying up into the wee hours of the morning grinding tape on Sacramento State basketball recruits, trying to pick the best ones and offer the right ones, the right combination of players, scholarships. Like, how much is Shaq being paid for this to, I assume, do nothing but show up a couple of times a year, and Sacramento State gets to pass around the hat and get NIL donations and get kids to come there thinking that hey, you want to hobnob with Shaq, don't you? Come to Sacramento State. Like, college athletics is changing. We talk about it all the time. Quite frankly, I'm sick of talking about the death of college sports and how nothing is the way that it was when I was a child and stuff like that. But like, this doesn't seem good. The celebrity GM to gin up interest in the program. I think I understand what I'm about to say is stupid, but I really think the NCAA needs to step in here and go, hey guys, we can't be doing this. But I mean, it's lawless. There's no rules in the NCAA. Like, it's the Wild West. Just, I don't know. I guess I'm just an old man yelling at the clouds here with this, but I really would like someone to step in and go, hey, Shaquille O'Neal cannot be the GM of the Sacramento State basketball team because, I mean, I guess they're both using each other. That's better than just Shaq using Sacramento State, I guess. But, I mean, I don't like this, and I want it on the record that I don't like it. Someone I do like, great transition, is Jon Walker of the Omaha World Herald. We'll talk to him about the portal pickups for Creighton, the plan, and who their celebrity GM might be. Next on 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. It's the Connor Happer Show. Connor's at the baseball diamond right now. The Jays did tie it up with the Mavericks in that last half inning. They're now in the top of the sixth. Knotted at 3. Creighton trying to win their 9th in a row, trying to beat Omaha for the second time this year. Does not appear that there will be a run rule like last time, but sticking within the Creighton family of athletics, we welcome in Omaha World Herald scribe Jon Walker. Jon, welcome to the Connor Happer Show.
What's up? What's up? How are you guys?
Oh, we're doing good. We got questions, and we know you got the answers, hopefully, to a lot of them. Yeah. Tell us what Blake Harper brings to the Creighton basketball team.
Yeah, let's analyze it from the ground up. At the very worst, right? And this, I say this in a good way. This is a good spot to be in. In the very worst, Blake Harper brings a developmental depth piece who is really surface level, unlike anything that Creighton has. Like, Creighton does not have a 6'8" point forward on the roster. And now they do with Blake Harper. So that's a really good spot to be in. And going up, Blake Harper brings a lot of scoring. He did that with a lot of rim pressure at Howard. The question, of course, guys, is can he drive? Does the physicality translate from the MEAC to the Big East? That's kind of the question. I think we saw that throughout his recruitment. But obviously, Greg McDermott and his staff have been pretty spot on with some of those mid-major transfers that they've gotten, and we'll certainly find out if Blake Harper is going to be the next one. But he's for sure, a piece who's going to add to this roster, no matter what that means for his role next season. Getting a fifth portal addition was huge, and now they're one spot away from filling the roster.
Just generally rough estimate, how many hundreds of points is this Blue Jays team going to score in the fall, and will Godfathers go out of business?
I think Godfathers will go out of business. The question we'll have to ask, of course, is how many points is this team going to give up?
Also a concern.
So that'll be the question. Right now, it feels like they're going to be like Kentucky from this past season or 2 seasons ago, where it was like, okay, we've got the dudes to go score 90 a game, but we also give up 90 a game. So whichever team makes more shots that night, is going to win. But they'll be in a good spot. I've just said it'll look different, no doubt, on both ends, especially the defensive end without Ryan Kalkbrenner. But difference not always bad. We'll certainly find out if it's good in the fall.
Is there something they can do in the portal in the meantime to kind of find someone to be the quote unquote defensive stopper?
Why? I mean, you're hoping, like on ball or kind of that Ryan Kalkbrenner presence or which one?
Either way, just to kind of stop the bleeding from the issue that we sort of highlighted there.
I think that guy's on the roster already. I mean, if Jason Green didn't show he could be an on-ball stopper last year, then I don't know what else he showed. You know what I mean? Clamped Alex Caravan, clamped Cam Jones when it mattered. He had the Eric Dixon assignment through the second half of the first meeting and all of the second meeting with Villanova. I remember Greg McDermott saying something at the end of the season just about how far Jason Green has come and that he still felt like Jason was just scratching the surface in terms of what he could give Creighton. I don't think it's a secret that his role has been somewhat limited the past couple of years because they haven't needed him to be an offensive weapon. He still has to develop a consistent 3-point shot. He knows that. I'm assuming he worked on that all last summer. He'll do it all this summer as well. But Jason Green's defense has never been a question. So in terms of defensive stopper, I think that guy's already on the roster. You have one spot left. Owen Freeman defends differently than Ryan Kalkbrenner, but he still averaged a couple blocks a game at Iowa. So he's a very capable defender, albeit different than Kalk. And then you obviously have seven-footer Alexa Dimitrievich. We'll see if he's ready. If they're gonna roll the dice and let him be the backup big, if that means Isaac Trout play some backup big, so it'll be different again. But the defensive stopper is already there, I think.
And to get all of these talented players out of the portal and get them to commit to Creighton, that costs some money. Is this money that was always going to be there, or is this an influx of, hey, there's a ticking clock on the McDermott era. I want to give money now. I want to, was this always the plan, or is this a McDermott related timeline?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think Creighton has planned to be very aggressive moving forward into the rev share era of college athletics because not just Creighton, but every school in the Big East, Creighton included, knows that there's a real opportunity to kind of take a step forward because of some of the revenue discrepancies that they'll have compared to other power conference programs that also have to tend to football. So these schools, and again, Creighton included, have known that they the door will be open in the rev share era, and Creighton is willingly walking through it. It seems like. So I think that was always Creighton's plan. It was Creighton's plan when I talked to Marcus Blossom for a story in January. He told me at the time that they were ready. They were committed to doing whatever it took to make sure they were competitive in rev share and in the next era period moving forward. But we'd be fools to think that the urgency, there hasn't been an uptick in urgency now that time is officially ticking on the McDermott era.
Absolutely. And is there anything, just kind of obviously just reading the tea leaves, that we can kind of take away from, okay, well, they did that, so that means the McDermott's timeline is XYZ. Is there anything we can read from what's happened this offseason?
Well, I don't know if there's any tea leaves to read just from the moves they made. Other than that they're all in. Like the resources were seemingly there. The timeline I reported when they brought in Allan Huss is a couple of seasons.
Right.
I heard that from a couple of different people, well-placed sources. And yeah, so regardless of what the additions were, it's going to be sometime in the next couple of seasons. But I just think we saw how urgent the situation is, how badly Creighton wants to win. One, to end the McDermott era, and two, to start the Allan Huss era simultaneously. They went out and reloaded after losing one of the best players in program history.
Do we have any idea what it looks like day to day for Huss to kind of sit under the McDermott learning tree? Like, okay, what do you do day in, day out? Like, obviously he knows how to be a head coach, right? But like, what does McDermott do specifically at Creighton? But also, he's got Huss has his own job to do as an assistant. Do we know what kind of the day to day looks like for both of those guys right now?
I don't. If I had to take a really good guess, if I had to take a good guess, It won't look too different than it did when Alan Huss was here as an assistant for 6 seasons. In the last 2 as associate head coach. Like, I talked to a couple of players who were here when Huss was, and they just talk about how smart he is and how much he could scheme, and he would draw things up in the huddle sometimes. He would run practices. Like, he was already doing all of that when he was previously at Creighton. So I think he'll obviously go back to doing a lot of that stuff on the day-to-day. And then, I think the move more so just kind of sets Creighton up for the future. One, you obviously bring in, a heck of a basketball mind and a heck of a recruiter for the next year or two. But it was a move that was more so about the future, because you had to make sure that you could get Alan Huss before anyone else tried to, and people tried to this off season. More of them certainly would have tried next off season. And so that's kind of what the move was. And it's a bonus that, you kind of get the day-to-day stuff that he brings that, again, won't take too much of an adjustment because he already did for 6 seasons on McDermott's staff.
And there he is, Jon Walker. He is covering anything and everything with this Creighton basketball team. Should be an interesting. It's already been an interesting off season. Should be an interesting regular season as well. We appreciate you carving out a little time for us today, Jon.
Of course. Thanks, guys. We'll talk soon.
All right, there he is, Jon Walker, Omaha World Herald. Read everything he writes. You can find him on the socials at by Jon Walker. Bottom of the 6th now at the Chuck. Still tied at 3. Creighton looking to knock off Omaha. The Dodge Derby, as I like to call it. I don't know how many more people other than myself like to call it that. We will take a break here. We'll kind of run down some headlines. We'll get you set up for unsportsmanlike conduct. We'll update the I think we have one poll question up there, which is sad and pathetic. We'll try and figure out some more as well. We'll tell you what to watch on this Tuesday evening. We are rolling right along here on the Connor Happer Show. Producer Josh in for Connor today on 1620 The Zone. Connor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone. We're in the 1 o'clock hour. We'll get you to unsportsmanlike conduct before too terribly long. We go to the YouTube chat where Platcat writes in, hi, Platcat. Was listening to Happer's call. Did I miss the honking with John? Let's play the
honk honk.
Yes, Platcat, you did miss the
honk honk
with Jon Walker. You can catch it on the podcast page, wherever you get your podcasts, or 1620thezone.com. We let's dip into the Chuck for a little bit here. Top of the 7-3-3 game. Mavs are up. They have a runner on second right now.
Is upstairs for ball 4. A Maverick walk. Puts runners on first and second with 2 away.
And now you're starting to see many of the classes file out as it approaches 1:30. And you're this crowd that was announced at 8610 starting to thin out a little bit.
Billy Moll's going to come out and have a chat with Shea Went. We mentioned Went was rolling along very well.
So there you have it. Creighton trying to notch their 9th baseball win in a row. So we'll doesn't seem like they're going to wrap up before our show here today. Connor back tomorrow. Don't worry. He's just downtown and I'm here in Midtown doing a radio show for all of you. Did want to roll through some of the headlines, make sure we hit as many different things as we possibly could. Kings have made Doug Christie their head coach. That's exciting. Yes. No, that doesn't move the needle at all. Okay. George Kittle, 4-year extension worth $76.4 million, keeps him in San Francisco through the 2029 season. Highest paid tight end. He told, and okay, so I'm reading this article. I had seen the news. I had seen the headline. I had seen the graphic from Bussin' with the Boys, and I said to myself, well, that can't be right. What joke am I not in on that Bussin' with the Boys is reporting that George Kittle is re-signed with the Niners for $76 million plus, $40 million guaranteed. By the way, so I don't listen to the show. Forgive me. I'm a bad Nebraska fan, I guess. But I said, okay, what joke am I missing here that they're reporting? You know, is it a joke on so many NFL media members are reporting the same thing that they decided to do it too? No, he told the Bussin' with the Boys podcast that is where the news break. That they were the news breakers on that one. So shout out to Will Compton and the bus for breaking news, I guess. I have seen your tweets, and I thank you for showing them to me, that there is a trailer out for and yes, this does warrant news in a headline segment, that there's a documentary about Favre coming out for Netflix. Boy, it's got to be next month, right? I think it's called Fall of Favre. Let me get you the facts before I start talking out of my tuchus. The Fall of Favre. It's one of those Netflix Untold documentaries, which some are good, some are very clearly, okay, we got the person to talk for the first time ever. Let's not say anything bad about him. May 20th is when this drops on Netflix. It digs into Favre's controversial career, the dark side of sports stardom, and the scandals that marred his legacy. I have not listened to it, but I have a Netflix preview playing in front of me with the captions on. It looks like Peter King is a talking head in this. I'm sorry, I don't know her name. That gal from the Jets. Again, I'm sorry, I don't know her name. Maybe better that I don't say it on a radio show. And some of the people who did the reporting on the Mississippi welfare scandal. So I'm in. I don't know about you. I'm in on that. As we churn through the headlines, as Omaha has added a run in the top of the 7th to take a 4-3 lead on the Jays. 2 runners in scoring position right now for the Mavericks. 2 out as they are just 1 out away from that 7th inning stretch there on Kids Day. NFL draft. Oh, we love TV ratings, don't we? We love the NFL. We love TV ratings. Let me read you this. And then you're going to go, oh, it was all a plot. I don't know. I'm just going to read you the news. NFL draft viewership soars on day 3 with 4.3 million viewers, the most watched to date. The NFL is undefeated, my friends. The day 3 NFL draft coverage across ESPN, NFL Network, ABC, ESPN Deportes, and digital channels averaged 4.3 million viewers based on Fast Nationals from Nielsen. That is the most watched day 3 on record and up more than 40% over last year. Oh. NFL always wins. I can't believe I read that headline and was surprised, but here I am. On Thursday, the first round of the draft averaged 13.6 million viewers. That marked the second most watched first round on record. It was an 11% increase over 2023. 2020 draft still holds the current viewership record for the most watched draft in history, including a staggering 15.6 million viewers on opening night. I remember that. I'm glad they put that in there because I remember that everyone remembers that draft. That draft was an absolute event. You were tuning in to see, okay, Roger Goodell is talking to us from his den. Bill Belichick's doing this thing in his basement. I remember, fill in the details for me here. I remember a Giants coach, and he was like on a card table. Like some teams clearly took a lot of like, okay, this has to look great on television. It has to look like we're picking from this, palatial suite. And the Giants were like, no, we're not doing anything special, man. Here's your card table and a laptop. You figure out who we're drafting. So it became very funny to just who's doing what. Was the 2020 NFL draft the Urban Meyer boat guy draft pick? Somebody get in the chat and tell me if I'm an idiot or not about this specific issue. Okay, I know I'm an idiot about almost everything else. Okay, so the NFL draft wins yet again. I see the 2026 NFL mock drafts are already out, and guys, I guess there is a prize in next year's draft class that there is not in this one, so I can understand a little bit of why everyone would be so excited. The Amazon NBA team seems to be rounding up their talent. I believe, I don't know if it's the final edition, but they have found their analyst, as Stan Van Gundy is going to jump from TNT to Amazon Prime, and Iron Eagle, Stan Van Gundy. That's pretty good. I like that. That's a good booth. Eagle is its number 1 play-by-play announcer. It plans on waiting to name its top game analysts. Stan Van Gundy not the top analyst? Are they going for a coup? I'll continue reading. It has shown interest in Richard Jefferson, who was just promoted to ESPN's number 1. Everybody works so hard to get to the top of ESPN's NBA team just so they can leave and go somewhere else. I find that funny because it's not like that for a lot of other sports. I know ESPN doesn't do a lot of MLB coverage, but you work so hard to get to the top of that so you can call the baseball games. You work hard to get to the top of ESPN's NFL broadcasts, and everybody who gets to the top of the NBA at ESPN just, I'm out of here. I'm going to go somewhere else where they know how to produce basketball games. Amazon's held talks with Kevin Harlan and the voice of the Minnesota Timberwolves, Michael Grady, as other play-by-play callers on its crew. Dwayne Wade and Steve Nash are candidates for analyst roles, according to sources briefed on the discussion. Amazon will have Taylor Rooks as its lead studio host. Blake Griffin and Dirk Nowitzki are already signed as two of its pregame and postgame analysts. Prime also swiped ESPN's Cassidy Hubbarth to be its lead sideline reporter. So I know so many of you have told me that you hate the NBA. Their changes are coming to the association next year. The next regular season NBA game will be held on NBC as NBC and Amazon enter the fold there. We will, Mavericks, another run has come across in the top of the 7th. 2 runs to make it a 5-3 Omaha lead over Creighton. Top of the 7th still, bases loaded. Jay's still stuck on 2 outs as they are running out of time to take over the baseball game there at the Chuck. That's where Connor is. He'll be back tomorrow as we okay. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll it's 6-3 now. The Mavericks are scoring runs faster than I can read them off to you. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll chat a little bit more. We'll do some of the poll questions. We'll tell you what to watch, and we'll get you set up for the rest of the afternoon here on 1620 The Zone.
Let's get back to the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
Here comes the clown.
Final segment of the day here on the Connor Happer Show. Producer Josh Odson handled things today. Connor's back tomorrow. Don't worry. We'll do I Have an Opinion. We'll talk to Mitch Sherman. Talk to Robin Washut tomorrow. Connor's down at the Chuck today for Omaha versus Creighton baseball. They have finally hit the 7th inning stretch down there at the Chuck. Mavs plated 5 runs in the top of the 7th, all of them with 2 outs. A single, 2 singles, a walk, and a fielding error is how the Mavs scored their 5 runs in the top of the 7th. They lead 8-3. It's college baseball. It's midweek. Anything can happen, but giving up a 5 spot in the 7th inning. Probably not the way Ed Service drew it up for him and the fellas there. As we let's dip in one more time.
Tynert, 92-mile-an-hour fastball for the junior out of Lincoln. 1-1 pitch to Ventiker is a breaking ball that caught that lower edge of the zone. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
There you go. They're in the bottom of the 7th there at the Chuck. Jays with a little bit of work to do if they want to win their 9th straight game. Let's take a look at the poll questions for today. Regular show tomorrow, so nothing to worry about there. We discussed in the crossover, are we obsessed with glass? A lot of NFL stadiums really want that sort of, not a full desert dome, but there's always like one side of a new NFL stadium that's just all glass. And look how beautiful it is. Are we obsessed with glass? 71% of the audience said no, we are in fact not obsessed with glass. I don't think we're obsessed with glass. I feel it's architecturally, we use a lot more glass than in our NFL stadiums than we used to. We get you out of here with what to watch tonight. NBA playoffs, 4 games going on in the association. 3 of those 4 are closeout games. We'll see if anyone loses by 55 points at home tonight. Seems unlikely. Pacers look to close out the Bucks. They lead that series 3-1. 5 o'clock tip-off on NBA TV. It's what everyone plays all 82 games for, a 5 p.m. playoff game on NBA TV. As I said earlier, this could be the final game in Milwaukee for Giannis Antetokounmpo, which is sad, by the way. I don't think nobody wants to like jump the gun and be like, hey, they're going to trade Giannis, but all signs point to that being their best option, and that's a crappy option. The Pistons are in the Garden to take on the Knicks. We're bing-bonging tonight, 6:30 on TNT. The Knicks lead 3-1 there. The Celtics are at home looking to close out the Magic at 7:30 on NBA TV. We'll get to why these games are on NBA TV tonight. Bit of a log jam on the sports calendar today. And the Clippers and Nuggets, Game 5 in the Big Mason jar tonight, 9 o'clock on TNT. That series knotted up at 2. 4 hockey games on your television tonight. The All-Canada Classic, Ottawa and Toronto, 6 o'clock ESPN. Maple Leafs lead that series 3-1. They look to close it out on home ice tonight. Hurricanes look to do the same as they lead the New Jersey Devils. Watch out for them Devils now. 3-1, 6:30 on TBS, which is why Turner has too many sports right now. They don't have anywhere to put those NBA games. That's why 2 of them are on NBA TV. Vegas hosts the Wild tonight. They're looking to break a 2-2 tie in Game 5 tonight, 8:30 ESPN. And out west, 9 o'clock on TBS, another Game 5, another series tied at 2 as the Edmonton Oilers are visiting the Los Angeles Kings. Baseball on your television tonight. Red Sox Blue Jays, 6 o'clock on MLB Network. That'll be followed by Marlins Dodgers, 9 o'clock. It was a good game last night. Maybe it will be again tonight. And your MLB TV free game of the day, 8:30. Angels Mariners out in the Pacific Northwest. We're going to call this one Dong Fest as Mike Trout and Cal Raleigh meet up. Those both of those guys are in the top 3-4 home run hitters in the league right now. So remember, that's Dong Fest tonight. MLB TV free game of the day, Angels Mariners. College baseball is on your television tonight. Nebraska hosts Kansas State, 6 o'clock on BTN. And I guess just since there's nothing like actually on TV tonight to recommend that you watch, if you're looking to catch up for Thunderbolts, the new Marvel movie in theaters this weekend, you could watch Ant-Man and the Wasp, all of this on Disney Plus, of course. The television series Falcon and Winter Soldier, if you just kind of are able to binge television shows quickly. I prefer to savor, but to each their own. And of course, Black Widow. There's other things you can watch if you want to dive deeper and be like super ready for the movie, but that's the broad stroke, which is what we excel at here on the Connor Happer Show. Connor's back tomorrow. Thank you everyone for indulging me in NBA talk. I did not think I would talk about that much, but it was kind of an interesting night in the NBA last night. I thought it was worth noting. Apparently, maybe I was wrong, but Connor will be back tomorrow. We'll talk to Mitch. There'll be plenty of Husker football and all that and more. The boys from Unsportsmanlike Conduct, Josh and I don't know who, I'll be honest. I've been stuck in this room talking to myself for the last 4 hours. Is next. We will, I think we'll do a crossover. We'll do a crossover next